Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I see issue with that. And again, hey.
You're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency. That's not going to happen.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to foot.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Part 2, where the material realities of activism collide with the political convictions. So I've agreed to sail across the Mediterranean with a flotilla of boats to deliver aid to Gaza, which is amazing and incredible, and I feel honored to be involved in any way. It does mean that I will be gone with limited internet connectivity for up to a month, and so I'm not going to be able to promote my fall shows. And that was actually my biggest hesitation in saying yes, was that normally this time of year I would be spending a lot of time on the internet reminding people to buy tickets to my shows. So these are the shows. They're on the West Coast. If you live on the West Coast, please go to them, buy tickets, bring your friends. But also if you want to help me promote, that would actually be a really cool way to support this larger project. And so you can email Josette to get on the street team, which just means you're hanging up posters and helping us promote the shows. That would be really great. It would be a load off my mind to know that someone else is promoting those shows. I've gone into debt on tour many times in my life, and I don't want to do it again. I am paying out of pocket to go on this trip as well, which I can afford to do more or less. But in case it's more on the less side, if you've thought of becoming a patron, here's my Patreon page. That's a really great way to support this project as well, to support me in doing this project, I should say. You can, of course, support the project itself at this link, and you should. And finally, this project moves really fast, the flotilla, and so I haven't had time to tell the people who are in my life, like my actual friends and family, other than a few people. And so if I haven't told you, please don't feel personally offended, and instead send me a text about it. I'm very happy to connect with you guys about it. Hope you guys are all good.
You heard the woman. Help her promote the shows. Hello, dissidents. Welcome, one and all, to a special St. Louis edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Davila, of course.
Hello.
So how is everybody doing?
Well, let's explain. That was Carsey Blanton. So as you probably gathered from the video, she is going out on a freedom flotilla. And very cool of her. She's not asking for donations. She's just asking people to help promote her shows. She's going to be out on the West Coast in October, God willing. So if you're out on the West Coast, buy a ticket. She's really doing the thing that we always say the artists need to do. She's writing protest music and performing it instead of going into the more commercial parts of the biz at great personal cost to herself. So if you happen to be out on the West Coast, check out her tour dates, carseyblanton.com. You can find her tour schedule.
Yeah, and she's not even asking for money. If we were to go on that flotilla, we would be guilting you guys into giving us money all day, every day. Yeah.
Look, you don't have to give, but, it would be a good thing if you did.
We're going to be at sea for a month. Then we're going to be in jail for a week.
We're risking our lives here. You're over there. You're watching us. You're watching us risk our lives for you. You could give $5, $10, $100, $500. If it was me, I would give 10,000. But that's me. That's me. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do
That's
that.
me. That's right. Yes, but she's not even doing that. She's not even doing that. So yeah, help Carsey Blanton promote her shows. Hey, we are in St. What is this? The show? Well, it's the Show Me State. But is there a nickname for St. Louis, the city? I don't even know. The Gateway to the West, right? That's
Gateway to the West.
That's right. The Gateway to the West. How could I forget? How could I forget? People say my mic isn't on. Why do I sound tinny?
You do sound a little tinny. I'll say that.
Oh, because I have the wrong mic, man.
Now you have the wrong.
Now do I sound better?
Oh yeah. Now your voice is much more resonant. It's much warmer.
There you go. I asked if I sounded good before. You said I did. I guess I was tinny.
Well, yeah, but I didn't realize. Because I was listening for background noise. I was
listening. Okay, well now how's the background? Now do you hear the air conditioner buzzing? The air conditioner is buzzing in there. All right.
Nope.
All right. Hey, shout out to Vito. Joined us for St. Louis Pizza on last night, right? Yeah, that was last night.
That was last night. As we expected, as we said on our video, as soon as we heard they make their own cheese, like it's a type of, like it's not mozzarella, we were not hopeful. It's kind of like Velveeta. It's really hard to explain. It's very strange. But a lot of people in the comments, all right, so first of all, understand, Emo's is a local chain.
Right.
We didn't go to a mom and pop store and start talking about how bad the food was. Mamma mia, these boys come in and they trash the restaurant. I think they influencers. We're gonna have to close. Mama, it wasn't like that. It's a bunch of underpaid people who probably hate the place working there. Not that, I mean, nobody was paying attention to us anyway. But a lot of people said you go to St. Louis for barbecue, which of course that was the first thing we did. We went to Salt and Smoke. Yeah, man. I thought the barbecue was great. We only did the pizza because they claimed to have a version of pizza that's specific to them.
Right.
Like if I just went to like Naples, Florida or something, I wouldn't try the pizza.
Right.
Like why would
they do their own thing? Exactly.
Right. Because they have a version that is completely specific to St. Louis. Like, well, we kind of have to do it.
Exactly. All right. The volume here, it sounds very low on my computer. I'm coming through okay, everybody in the chat? I don't know what's going on.
Now I think you're coming through okay.
All right, good. All right, well, we hope so. But yeah, so we'll just be very brief in recapping. Most of you guys saw that. We put out our little announcement from St. Louis as an update in terms of the Uhuru documentary. Turns out a lot of the people who we were supposed to interview and feature prominently in the film are ill. Some with the big C, some with other stuff. Well, not the big C. The big C is really bad.
Not the big C, the little C.
The little C. The polarizing.
The virus of unknown origin.
The virus, not the big C, but the other C. Exactly. Yes. So we got news that the chairman had been sick as well as his wife the day we got in. And that obviously set things back a lot. But we were very, very fortunate that a guy who I can reveal now because I texted him to ask permission, a guy named Mark, I'll say his full name since he said I could, Mark Anderson, who's been a longtime activist with the Uhuru movement, who has been super helpful for us so far, not only like driving us around from place to place, but just facilitating so much of the production aspects, from the paperwork to the release forms to the signage, wherever we need to go and all kinds of stuff. He very generously offered to fund our return trip back so we can complete whatever we do not get this time because of how illness has seemingly rocked the African People's Socialist Party this week. We do plan on interviewing the chairman later in the week. Because of my family commitments, I obviously have to be back before Russ does. So because and even the person who was supposed to give us a tour today, the person we were supposed to shoot with today, is also ill. So there's really no production going on the next couple of days. So I am flying home at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning. But Russ is staying through September 5th. So we will hopefully be getting a lot of what we need before Russ leaves. So we should be okay production-wise.
Yeah.
Whatever we don't get, we'll be able to come back and get, thanks to Mark, who saved us, who really saved us. I mean, it's extremely generous, obviously, to offer to fund a return trip. And in this case, we'd be much less confident in the quality of the product if he had not made that offer. So big shout out to Mark, who is an OG of the movement here. We're going to show these shirts later because I got a shirt at the farmer's market. But
yeah,
Mark,
man, I gotta change my shirt. I forgot.
Oh, you forgot.
And I need my bowl too.
Oh,
I dragged it all the way to St. Louis.
Well, you could change your shirt during one of the videos. I'm going to full screen one.
That's what I'm thinking, and I'll get the bowl.
Yeah, I'll full screen the video.
I brought it all the way out here, so.
So I bought this shirt from the farmer's market, which we'll talk about later. But Mark is one of the OGs of the movement. So this is Mark here, U.S. out of Somalia, pigs out of the black community. That's Mark right there. I don't know when this photo was taken. He'll probably tell me. But taken long enough ago to be on a shirt. And so Mark saved our ass. And so big shout out to him. We were able to shoot all day yesterday. Yesterday was really the stuff that we had to capture this time. It was the most time sensitive because we were able to film the One Africa, One Nation farmers market, which was amazing. The whole Black Power blueprint battery, which was amazing. The bake shop, the basketball courts, the housing units.
We got Sandy in the chat there.
Oh, Sandra's in the chat? Okay. Hey, Sandra. Yep. Sandra has been hugely helpful, too. She's been my point of contact throughout this whole process. So shout out to Sandra in the chat. I guess she's in the YouTube chat. YouTube chat's moving fast. So I didn't see her there. But we also, what else did we do yesterday? Obviously, a big party yesterday was surveying the tornado devastation from a tornado that hit North St. Louis in May. And that was absolutely devastating. And, that all of that footage is time sensitive. We hope it's time sensitive. We certainly hope that the tornado wreckage is cleaned up by the time we come back, which will be next spring. But
it's crazy, man.
We got some. It was such a great day yesterday. We saw so much. The farmers market was amazing. All of the sites we saw were amazing. The housing units are beautiful. They're gorgeous. So not only does Uhuru do this community
fully furnished
work, but yeah, they do it super well. They do it really well. They obviously take such pride in what they do.
We asked them how much. They said, well, it's different things. For some people, it might be free. We said, well, for us, example, suppose we want to live here.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's not. I don't think it's designed for that.
Right. No. But that is right next door to the basketball court, which is like a state-of-the-art basketball court. So, not only do they do all this community work, they do it really well and obviously take tremendous pride in it. And everyone we met was super helpful. People guiding us around, people, doing interviews for the camera and showing us the sites. It was a great experience yesterday. Really, really great. We're going to show you some footage in a few minutes.
Yeah, and this is really a big part of the motivation for doing this. We get asked a lot, well, what are you for? Well, this community activism and real articulation of a philosophy put into action that is a living demonstration of what an alternative to the way that we do things under this capitalist system, the way that we do capitalism. Even if you say, well, this isn't real capitalism, well, okay. So you're admitting it's not working, right? So why don't you look at people who are trying to do something else? When you cover politics writ large, which we have to, because those politics impact us. They impact the people who watch us. We have to cover what the president is doing, what Congress is doing, what the courts are doing. But I think for some people that can leave the impression that you're just down on everything. We're just down on that. Like, yeah, we're down on everything within this uniparty system, pretty much. When occasionally you get somebody who takes a good position on anything, no matter who it is, whether it's AOC or MTG, will back that position. But overall, we have a critique that's systemic. The entire system is too corrupt to really deliver for people. And if that's the angle you're coming from, I mean, we agree. Yeah, you do have to have a vision of where you're going. And that's what makes a group like Uhuru so valuable and so unique, which at one time they were not. That's part of what's so fascinating about them. They came out of a movement where there were many groups who, while they might not have agreed on every detail, broadly speaking, had a similar critique of power and a similar vision of a kind of global underclass fighting back against this system. Most of these groups were COINTELPRO'd out of existence. That's what's so amazing, that they've not only survived, but thrived.
Mm-hmm. And there's a little bookstore as part of the farmers market, which we won't see tonight, but they have books about COINTELPRO. They have books about, the government's assault on movements like theirs. It was just amazing to see. It really was. It was fantastic. So we were super excited about what we got yesterday. And we're super excited to share some of it with you tonight. So shout out to everybody for being here. 637 strong in the Rumble chat. 1393 filing in over on YouTube. Shout out to Jake in the booth. Thanks for helping us out tonight. Jake, thanks for the super chats and the Rumble rants. We will read those. A little different system. We're not going through Rumble Studio tonight because we are on the road, so I'm without my external monitor. So we will be able to display those super chats on the screen tonight. That's kind of a perk of that arrangement. But all right, we will get started. So first, we're going to show you some footage from the One Africa, One Nation farmers market. Now, the interesting thing about this from our perspective, from a technical standpoint, is because we're shooting this in ultra high definition, the process of logging this footage and sorting it and uploading it from the cloud and down from the cloud and then backing it up and storing it again, it's going to take about a month just to get all this footage organized. So what you're seeing is sort of...
mine is nowhere near loaded.
No, I still have 100. How many more clips? I still have 108 videos. 106. Oh, wow. So 2 uploaded in the last 3 hours. That's great.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I still 106 videos are left to upload into my system. So we don't even have like half of the stuff accessible at this moment. It's going to take a long time. It's safe. Don't worry. It's secure. But to broadcast, obviously, I have to compress it to a streamable quality. So this is actually looks a little worse than what the final product will look like. But first, we're going to show you guys 2 minutes, a little sample of the One Africa, One Nation farmers market. This is 2 minutes. Should we full screen this? What do you think?
Well, I'll take the opportunity to change shirts again.
All right. Well, you're going to have an opportunity. The third video is 5 minutes, so that'll give you a better opportunity. All right. So here we will. We'll full screen this anyway. All right. So this is our experience at the farmers market.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Just harvesting what is to be harvested. The garden's on its second planting right now as of today. Mm-hmm. We've already been through tons of squashes and cucumbers and cabbages.
So the Gary Brooks Community Garden was named after Gary Brooks, who lived in the building next, right behind me. And he really had showed his support, showed his skill on how to plant. And so we named the garden officially for him. And unfortunately, he's passed away in November of 2024. But his legacy lives on through this garden. For the past 5 years, we've given away at least 1,000 pounds worth of produce in the community. And we're set to do the same thing this year.
I'm a volunteer here with the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market. We established this market right here in St. Louis to combat food apartheid. This is an area of the city that faces economic strangulation. What that means is it's been purposely divested from. There are no grocery stores here. There are no businesses here. And this was once a very vibrant and thriving Black community. This market was established to rebuild economic development in this area, specifically provide fresh produce, healthy food that people here don't have access to, and to be an incubator for small businesses.
This area is considered a food desert, and we want to overturn that. And we want to be able to bring healthy food, real economic development in the community, and it's just so critically important. And again, it's been really successful for the past 6 years now.
So yeah, that was we were very fortunate to be able to be here for that, because this goes on once a month. So it's good that our trip coincided with this, because it was great. I mean, then we showed you one small piece of it. We're going to show you some T-shirt vendors who sold us our shirts in a minute. But we interviewed, about 4 or 5 different vendors there. The future home of Black Power Radio is right next door. So it's actually in the building with the mural right behind it. And then the Uhuru House is right across the street. I should have put a shot of the Uhuru House in there for this stream, but I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say something, but since you brought it up, you're not doing enough, man.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You need to step it up.
We're really dogging it. Yeah, exactly. But we even met a couple of fans there. So that was a lot of fun. And so, that's just one small piece of it. Let's go to the T-shirt. Let's go to our T-shirt friends, shall we? We'll show you where we got these cool shirts. All right, we'll full screen this and go ahead.
So this is the Uhuru Planet booth. This is an economic institution of Black Star Industries. So this is owned by the African People's Socialist Party, and the Uhuru Planet is reparations apparel. So all of the funds raised through Uhuru Planet go to Black Star Industries, go to the economic institutions of the African People's Socialist Party and the Black Power Blueprint here in St. Louis.
I met this group in April and I saw their signage for reparations, and I basically just ran over to the booth. I was just kind of a random person walking around at Earth Day, and I jumped in feet first and never looked back. I think that it's a really important message, and that as a citizen, I have a duty to make sure that I'm being a good global citizen, and so I cannot do that if I am part of a system that is exploiting other people.
And I know in the past it was, you bring up reparations and a lot of people say, well, what does that even mean? Now it's out there. I don't think I've ever had anybody ask me, well, what do you mean by reparations? Other than like asking, well, how do you define reparations? Like, what does it actually look like? And I can point to the economic institutions of the African People's Socialist Party. I can point to the Black Power Blueprint here in St. Louis, and I say, that's what reparations look like. It looks like economic power in the hands of colonized people.
Yeah, and that really is an example. This really is an example of that. In action. That's what's so neat about it is to see it actually work, and to see it work in using a model that is really not a capitalist model. Like they give away so much of the fruit and vegetables that they grow. It's self-sustaining. They're not funded by the government. Obviously, the government tried to put them in jail. I mean, this is just a kind of piece by piece work. And one thing that we're not capturing in these clips, because these are sort of self-contained to the market, is the deprivation of the surrounding community. I mean, North St. Louis is, look, I grew up, I went to school I lived in the middle-class white town of Newburgh, but I went to school in the city of Newburgh, which consistently ranks, as does St. Louis, towards the top of the nation in poverty and crime and all this. And so, in Newburgh, I saw a lot of the same decay architecturally from an infrastructure standpoint. But what's eerie about St. Louis is the depopulation. It is the Wild West out there, man. Like it's just people are so isolated, and especially the fact that the tornado went through there. It's very eerie and quiet, and dare I say, kind of dystopian, which is also sets up this amazing contrast between the neighborhood and the work that the African People's Socialist Party does, because amidst all this decay and neglect and deprivation, you see things like this farmer's market. You see things like this brand new state-of-the-art basketball court that's in pristine condition, these murals that are so meticulously done and in such great shape. And you see the apartment units that they built for people who are getting out of jail and back on their feet. The inside of these units is just beautiful. So you really do see in action the rebuilding of a place that has been really just left for dead. And I know that that is an extreme way of putting it, maybe, but it's not. If you come here, it's very obvious, as we'll see in this next clip about the tornado ruins. It's clear the government just does not care about these people at all. If you live in North St. Louis, to the government, you may as well not exist. I mean, there is no indication whatsoever of any support from the state. And so they take it upon themselves to support themselves, and that's what this is all an example of.
Yeah, and there are a lot of places in this country that are like that. A growing number of them. It's inevitable when you're funneling all of the wealth that the society produces to a smaller and smaller number of people. 400 people have as much wealth in this country as the bottom 150 million people.
Right.
So what's left, especially for areas like that, we look at ancient civilizations that took certain social evils for granted as just normative. You invade a place and you take prisoners and you enslave the women, you kill the men, and that was just normal. Nobody even really questioned that. What we don't question is why so many American cities have, as St. Louis does, a street that divides poor from middle class and upper class, and that almost always translates as black and white.
Yeah, so that's Del Mar in this case, and the gentleman in this clip actually mentions that, the divide between north of Del Mar, south of Del Mar.
I was just in Buffalo. Main Street is the dividing line, and it is stark. On one side of it, it's pretty nice. You go to the other side of it, it's immediately that color line kicks in, and it's mostly black, and it's much more impoverished. The roads aren't as maintained. Everything's much more run down. You can see the food desert thing kicks in, where you have bodegas but not really supermarkets, and we accept that. We accept that as a normal thing. Years ago, I had an Afrikaner in the back of my horse and carriage, and it wasn't that long after apartheid had ended. And this guy was very angry about it. He wasn't talking yet about the white genocide. That was a more recent thing. But, he was very angry about the end of apartheid. But there was one thing he said that I could not argue with. I was driving him by Rockefeller Center, and he pointed at the people picking up the trash who were all black. He said, "You have apartheid. You just don't call it that."
Right.
All right. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And we still do.
For sure. Yeah, it is pretty evident here. So we have some really, troubling footage of the ruins from the tornado that will be included in the final piece. And, we'll be publishing clips and stuff as we go, kind of. We already have quite a bit of footage to share. But this piece of video is about 4.5 minutes. So Russ has time to change his shirt while we play this. But what you're going to see here, just to set it up and give it some context, is what looks like a tiny pink house, but it's actually the shed in back of a house that was destroyed by the tornado. And the woman living in the house is now living in the shed with a roof that is half tarp pulled from the top to the side wall. and she's been living like this, I suppose, since May. So now for over 3 months. Over 3 months. And so we're going to take a look at this piece of video now. And we will be back after this.
This is Miss Green house. It was in her house for 40 years, and unfortunately, the May 16th tornado took it out. Unfortunately, just like many of her neighbors. But she explained to us that day in, day out, week in, week out, she was looking for leadership from the mayor's office, and she wasn't getting none. She was looking for money to help rebuild her house, but it simply didn't come. The only thing that came from City Hall is a dumpster, and she had a bag for that dumpster. And tell the truth, she put the mayors on Front Street. It was at a town hall meeting, and she asked the mayor about 3-4 times, but since you didn't give me no money, can you at least give me a dumpster? I think if the camera wasn't in front of the mayor, she probably would have said no. But unfortunately, like I said, this house been her family for 40 years. It was her and her son that was staying here during the devastation. She said that when it happened, her and her son was in the front, and it just came so fast. Unfortunately, wasn't no one downtown to push the signal, the sirens button, but thank God that they survived. They survived. But if you look at it, what is this type of conditions for any person, any of God's children to live in? Unfortunately, she's subjugated to her shed that was in her backyard. Unfortunately. For generations and generations, black folks was pushed out of the conversation and made it fair for ourselves. I think in a little bit we finna go to the south side, the south of Delmore, and you finna see who live at the expense of ours. Everybody from this region know about the Delmore divide, where the people on the south of Delmore live at the expense of everyone in the north of Delmore. So while this woman right here couldn't get the appropriate finance from the city to rebuild her house, it's people on south of Delmore that have not got touched by the tornado, but they still living in beautiful condition. They came over here, it's like, damn, they was shocked to see this type of devastation. But you live in the same town, you just on the south side of Delmore. And unfortunately, for 50, 60 years, this is how the people of St. Louis been living, at the expense of someone else. But that's capitalism. That's colonialism. And as long as we have colonialism spread across this globe, you're going to have these type of conditions. The only way to get from underneath this condition is to fight capitalism. Because we know that they're not going to give up their power willingly. We know that it's imperialism is in crisis right now. You see that with BRICS, you see that all across the globe with Brexit, you know. But unfortunately, right now here in St. Louis City, the people is still under the iron grips of capitalism.
Yeah, so that is what we have to show you from the footage tonight, but just incredible stuff, and to just to get to drive around and walk around and document that. I mean, it goes on for blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks. I mean, the ruins are so vast. You know, a tornado hit my hometown a few years ago, and you know, the damage was somewhat limited to certain, you know, streets and homes. You know, this goes on for, I mean, I don't know what the mileage is. I don't know what number to put on it, but it's pretty incredible to see. And you see nothing going on. We didn't see the whole time we drove around. We didn't see one crew at work clearing this stuff away. Like, how is it gonna get cleaned up? How is it gonna get rebuilt? There just seems to be zero investment in this community. None. It's like there is no state. If you live in North St. Louis in these blocks that have been devastated, we ran into one guy came out, and he actually signed a release form, so he's going to be in the final product. You know who I'm talking about. I don't know if you got his name. I didn't get his name.
Bill.
Bill. Yeah, he came out and he started talking to us about how all the grant money is going to go to, the established institutions who will build what they want in the neighborhoods they want. And it just looks very bleak in terms of like how that area is going to recover. So, this is something I think.
Well, that guy was out with his own trash grabber trying to clean up the street, trying to improve his area, which is a very common result in areas that have been abandoned like that. In New York, we have community gardens. When you see a community garden, that means that neighborhood was abandoned by the city in the 70s and 80s, because those community gardens started because people in their own neighborhoods tried to bring them back and tried to foster unity by creating their own gardens and getting everyone to sign up and volunteer. Today, most of those are run by the Parks Department and they give funding to the neighborhood. They're still on a volunteer basis. But it shows you that when government does pull out like that, you're given the impression people are animals, people are savages, they're going to all turn on each other and stab each other in the back. Not really. Not really. People will tend to try to come together as community and help each other and form a better system. This society is set up to impede those efforts. That's why they destroyed all groups with the kind of messaging that Uhuru has. They can't have it. It offers an alternative. They're going after him to this day. The Biden administration bringing trumped up charges against this group. That is how threatened they are by strong activists presenting an alternative, because they know, just common sense. You look from the castle ramparts at the peasants, what's the biggest threat to your power? Them figuring out that they are the frog in the pot of boiling water that's been conditioned to accept conditions that they never should have accepted as normative. If you have enough groups like this, people start waking up. Why do we put up with this? Why are we accepting this? Why these people go into space and we can't even get tornado damage cleared up in our areas? And it's not just St. Louis. That is all over the country, all these towns that are left behind. And I think what a lot of the white working class today doesn't understand or doesn't want to accept, and I think it was presented in a way that was intentionally antagonistic in order to avoid any kind of class solidarity. Remember, in the 30s, the capitalists got scared. They saw all of these so-called Okies coming out of the Dust Bowl, and these people had guns, and they knew how to shoot them. It's not long after the Russian Revolution. Grapes of wrath, man. They were afraid of a violent communist overthrow of the government. So they made a deal with one part of the working class, the white part. And that is why, if you are from that community and that's part of your history, you see this American past as a golden age in a way that no other group does, because they didn't get in on that contract.
Well, right.
Everybody else was getting shut out of unions, getting shut out of these cheap houses in good neighborhoods. They didn't experience what your grandparents and your parents experienced. They never lived in that America. The America you're living in now, That's the America they've been living in all along. That golden age, it never happened for you if you were not white. I know there are a lot of people there who want to tell you that's not true or that got settled 30 years ago. Well, come to St. Louis or many, many other places in America. It's not just St. Louis. And you will see that is not true. It's not that you don't have a basis for being angry, but you should take that as an opportunity to open your eyes and say, wow, I'm angry about this. And this has been like one generation for people like me. This has been the whole history of the country for everybody else. So if you're mad, how are you going to get upset about other people who have suffered for much longer being angry about the conditions that they're living in?
Well, yeah, I mean, well, you could tell the effect of time on a neighborhood like North St. Louis. I mean, you could just tell.
Sure.
It's self-evident driving through, and like I said, we have obviously plenty more to show you in the coming days and weeks. And then in terms of a final product, I was telling Russ, while we were seeing the tornado stuff, and while we were just talking to all different people associated with the movement, like there might be too much for just a feature film. This might be like a multi-part docuseries. We don't know. I mean, that you just don't know until you kind of get what you need in the can to start really editing. So we will keep you up to date on that, obviously, but it seems now like a problem of having too much, not a problem of having too little, because there is just so much. I mean, just yesterday alone, there's so much that I'm like, no, we can't cut this down. This can't just be a 5-6 minute segment. It's got to be more, because it's all so interesting, because it's all so... It's such a unique sort of living demonstration of a part of history that's been largely erased. And that's what's really fascinating about it. Like, every part of it is so interesting. Every part of it is fascinating. Just to see that model at work, the community garden, to the farm stand, to giving away vegetables, to health screenings they have set up there. I mean, we didn't even scratch the surface in what we just showed you, obviously. But yeah, there's just loads more to put together, and it's gonna be a very, very intense project, and we're really looking forward to getting to sink our teeth in it more. This was all one day of shooting because illness prevented us from going out today, so all this was just one day, and we didn't even show you. That wasn't even. I don't think that was 1% of what we shot. We did hours and hours and hours just yesterday alone. Okay, well, hey, that's our presentation on the Uhuru Doc stuff for tonight. We have plenty of other segments, plenty of regular programming, plenty of shit talking and wisecracking. That's why we know that's what most of you guys come for, but we hope you enjoyed that. And once again, thank you to the patrons and the Give, Send, Go donors for making this happen. Jake, do we have the scroll? Can we put the patrons up on the screen, please? So yes, if you're back there, thank you. So yeah, I mean, the reason we're able to do this is because we raise the money from our donors, and obviously our patrons provide the support. So if you want to chip in and help make it happen, dudissidents.com/Patreon/Substack or /locals. Those links are all at the top of the screen. Luckily, we don't have to raise any more money from you guys to finish the project for now, because Mark came through and offered to fund our trip back. Also, we have to give Mark a big spot on the Patreon scroll, I guess, from now on. We should name it after him. He should get like a sponsorship.
He's
on
getting
the Patreon scroll.
an executive producer credit.
Yes.
He wants a gaffer.
He wants
credit,
the gaffer credit. He's really been gunning for the gaffer credit.
For the gaffer thing.
Yeah. We were setting up the lights because I have to come home on Wednesday. All right, I'm coming home tomorrow because there's no shooting going on the next 2 days. All
right, man. You want to see a dedicated family man? This guy changed his flight to get back to his family sooner. He didn't have to. Could just
No,
stay
I
till
could have
Wednesday.
stayed, but yeah,
Yeah.
I would have been sitting in the hotel or doing something.
Nah, man, we would have hung out. We'd have hung out. We'd done the brewery tour. This guy's like,
Oh, so
"No,
now you're
if I'm not
pulling me.
filming, I'm out of here."
Now I'm a man in the middle. Yeah, no, I mean, what the thing that does suck about this is being away from the family. I do actively hate
Hey,
being
God,
away from the
God,
family.
God bless you, man. God bless you.
Yeah,
I respect that.
It does suck.
I don't understand it, but I respect
I don't understand it. I think you're nuts, but I respect it. Yeah.
Come
I
back
hate
sooner. I'd probably extend the trip.
Yeah, no, I hate being away from the wife and kids. I really do.
That's amazing.
No matter what. I mean, I had an amazing time here. It would have been more amazing had we not had these setbacks. Yesterday was an unforgettable day. It was amazing. It was extraordinary. But yeah, the part of it that does suck is being on the road and being away from home and being away from the wife and the kiddos. So yes, I will be back tomorrow. But yeah, Mark is funding our trip back. So whatever we don't get this time, we will get next time. But Russ is going to be there till September 5th. So we will get a lot more before Russ leaves. Yeah, that is how that goes. So yes, if you can become a member, it helps tremendously. You get all kinds of perks. You know the deal. Movie nights, post games, Q&A access. By the way, tonight is Sunday, so if you want to tell us what you think of the footage or call in and talk, the phone lines will be open. Not shortly, but obviously these are somewhat abbreviated streams because we don't do a terrible amount of segments from the road. But we hope you all enjoyed that, and there will be plenty more to come. And once again, thanks so much to the team. The team here, the Uhuru team, has just been incredible. Like, they have put together all this programming for it. They put together a lot more that we can't do right now. But yeah, no, they've just been like guiding us through every step of the way.
Yeah.
And just making it, go as seamlessly as it can. There's no such thing as seamlessness in this line of work. But yeah, shout out to Uhuru. And go to handsoffuhuru.org and learn more about them, obviously. But you'll be hearing a lot more about them in the coming days and weeks.
And months.
For sure. And months.
And
years. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Kuznetsky Bassane, thanks for the $4.99 super sticker. Appreciate that very much. Up the Red says, I don't really have much good to say about Nick Fuentes, but this idea that he is a Fed is crazy to me. I think he genuinely believes everything he says, good or bad. Thank you, Up the Reds. Luis Brooks, thanks for the $50. Do we have our cowbell? Did we bring that?
Oh, that we don't have. All right,
so we got a
go
digital
to the
cowbell.
Yeah. That I couldn't fit. It's a pretty big cowbell.
Yeah, that is kind of a big cowbell. There it is. Digital cowbell. Sending lots of love. Appreciate you guys. Keep up the fight. Sound is perfect. All right. Thanks, Louise.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Louise.
that. Thank you for letting us know. What do we got here? Katrina Greshner says, so it seems like you disagree with the saying bad sex is like bad pizza. It's still pizza. Yeah.
Keaton would agree with that. I would not.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the things we did anyway, we'll talk about it later. But Landrew, thanks for the $100. Wow, look at that. Thanks, Landrew. Appreciate that very much. We'll give Landrew his cowbell and his sound drop. Says Uhuru, Keaton and Russell doing the work of heroes. Stop the genocide of Palestine. Free Palestine. Thank you, Landrew, very much.
Oh, right.
Appreciate that.
Got his other sound drop, too.
Yes, we got his other sound drop. Absolutely. Thanks, Landrew. Appreciate that. Appreciate your generosity, as always. All right, what do we got in here? We got Jake. How are we on these Rumble rants? I think we're Jake's doing double duty tonight because I think the YouTube super chats are not flagging properly.
Yeah, we're not going through the Rumble studio, right?
Yeah, well, we're not going through the Rumble studio, and also the it's supposed to automatically star the super chats, and for some reason, it's not. So here, I'm gonna do Eric Husso. Oh, come on, give me that. I'm without my second monitor too, so that kind of hampers me. Eric Husso says, "How's the St. Louis barbecue?" All right, so we showed you the St. Louis barbecue.
Yeah, that was very good.
Solid.
Very good.
I would say, yeah, solid.
Solid.
That'd be.
No, you know what?
One-word review.
Of the 3 meals I've had here, the only bad one was the pizza. I just had Nicaraguan food tonight. That was good.
I didn't even eat anything.
That was like 2
today.
blocks from where I'm staying.
I haven't. You just come to think of it, I haven't eaten anything. You know what I had at the hotel here? They got a popcorn machine, so I had a bag of popcorn. I got free popcorn because I realized when I got back I hadn't eaten anything. Well, no, that's not true. I had breakfast because they give you free breakfast
it
too.
It seems like the food is generally good.
Yeah,
you know, it's just that. It's just
yeah,
a pizza.
Just a pizza. All right, what do we got here? How did you get Keaton out of the house? I made it.
Well, you see how fast he's running back.
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's no filming going on, then yeah, I'm going back.
You know,
I'll stay here if I got to work. I'm not,
Dude, when I was married, I felt like Dexter. The way Dexter would have to process how a normal person behaves. That's how I had to. So what would someone who should be married say in this situation?
Yeah,
what would they do? Oh, they'd probably stay home instead of going out. Honey, I'm going to stay home. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yeah, that's not a terribly good sign. Yeah,
well, that's probably why I'm not married. Yeah. So he's so long you can keep that going before they figure out you're a serial killer.
Yeah. Hey, Vito is here. Vito P. Great pieces. My love and support to the beautiful people of APSP. Uhuru. Cancer sucks. You guys rock. Thanks, Vito. Thanks for joining us for pizza. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Let's have a cowbell for Vito. We're going to have to give Vito a sound drop, too, because Vito drops a lot of 50s. Drops a lot of 50s on us, that guy. Thank you, my friend. All right. Killer Hitton says, if the captain says the ship is sinking, people don't call him a pessimist if it is. Jerry Casale watched the new Devo doc on Netflix, Dirtbags. Actually, it should be the next DD. Here you go. Thanks, Killer Hitton. Which y'all Dirtbags was responsible for making sure the lens cap was taken off the camera and shouting, "Come on, people, we're losing light" in St. Louis. Ha ha.
Yeah.
Good
well,
one.
there's no cap on the phones.
Yeah. When you're not, there's no cap on the phones. Yeah, Jake just texted me. I'm not seeing the Rumble rants. I don't know why. Was there a redundancy there, or was it just slow to update on my end? Oh no, now I see him. Maybe you were going in reverse order. All right, so you got to figure out how to make that happen. Because now I see you posting them. Maybe there's a delay in when you post and when I see. Because I just did those two at the top. So I see EO Shush, Mark Pugliese, and Bonzo Beans. But those are repeats anyway. Okay, so the two that are on here, Jake, that I have not read yet are from Mark Pugliese and EO Shush. Everything else I believe I've read already. So maybe there's a delay. If there is, we'll work with that. We'll do the best we can. All right, let's go on to some segments, some general due dissidence now. We got some news to cover before we sleep. And, of course, Q&A is tonight.
Miles to go before we sleep.
Dude, I got to be up at, I don't even know if I'm going to...
Yeah,
I go to sleep at all?
Well, that's why I'm saying you're crazy to do all that. Because it's not like you were going to be coming home, in a week. To get back 2 days earlier?
I would have gotten a flight at a reasonable hour, but all the flights at a reasonable hour on Monday would have been a $200 upcharge.
Why even do it to get back 2 days earlier? I could understand if it was a week earlier. That makes sense. For 2 days, why bother?
Yeah, no. Well, 2 days is a very long time. For in family world, a lot happens in 2 days.
I guess so.
A lot goes on in 2 days.
You don't want to miss their first multi-syllabic word, I guess.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right. Well, friend of show, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes.
Went and did an interview with Trump's personal lawyer. And there's absolutely nothing fishy about that. And surprisingly, she didn't see Donald Trump ever do anything wrong.
Yeah, no.
No, nothing at all. From Epstein's suicide to Trump and Clinton, 5 takeaways from Ghislaine Maxwell transcripts. Now, we do have a court sketch artist rendition of the interview that she did. It went something like this. Nothing to see here. I never saw Trump do anything wrong. And a man who looks suspiciously like Donald Trump in sunglasses and a mustache at the back. Now, we weren't there, but this is the court reporter's interpretation of what happened. The hundreds of pages of redacted transcripts and handful of audio clips released August 22nd showed that Maxwell questions a medical examiner's finding that the financier killed himself in jail in 2019 while he was awaiting a criminal trial on federal sex trafficking charges. However, Maxwell waved away conspiracy theories suggesting someone outside the jail had him killed, and said she never saw any man in Epstein's orbit acting inappropriately with a woman.
Oh, well, I mean, that settles it.
Well, that clears it all up. That clears it right up. Quote, I never, ever saw any man doing something inappropriate with a woman of any age, Maxwell told Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, a former defense lawyer to Trump, who handled the interviews personally. Nothing to see here, folks. Asked about Trump's relationship with her and with Epstein, Maxwell said Trump was always kind and cordial with her. Quote, and I just want to say that I admire his extraordinary achievement in becoming the president now, she said. And I like him. I've always liked him. Wow, man. Wow. Okay, so this is pretty typical of the style of questioning that Todd Blanche did with Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell says, so I never saw an aggressive move. Blanche says, well, she says, I never saw anything that was, and Blanche says, non-consensual. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
I never saw anything that was non-consensual.
The word I was looking for.
Yes, that's called leading the witness. That is called leading the witness. Now, we hear a lot about this is what I voted for. I got to ask, is this what you voted for? Is this what you voted for, to have this foot rub interrogation by the president's personal lawyer, who would not allow the lawyer for the victims to be present for these interviews, and all with the backdrop of her getting moved to a minimum security prison where she qualifies for work release, which is unheard of for somebody with the charges that she took and was prosecuted under. It's unheard of for them to get moved to a prison like that, much less to be eligible for work release. Is this what you voted for? Is this what what if this happened under Joe Biden? What if their Justice Department handled Ghislaine Maxwell this way?
Yeah, I don't know if you have any of the Twitter takes in the slideshow, but it sounds like you got at least one. But so the Chuds were really excited. I mean, they were very relieved that Maxwell said Trump didn't do anything wrong. Like, they were actually taking this at face
it's
value.
amazing.
It's incredible.
It's amazing. No, I've got one with a really interesting last name with that take. We'll get
all right,
to it.
good. I'll save it.
Okay, so Anyone Want Chimps pointed this out when the interview was announced. When the attorney representing roughly 20 Epstein victims asked to be included in the highly inappropriate meetings between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell, but was barred from attending. Blanche is acting as Trump's lawyer, not the U.S. Deputy AG. Release the Epstein Trump files. Well, that's the thing. Under this administration, everyone is working personally for Trump. That is what he took away from his first term.
Yeah.
No one can have any independence. The primary qualification is personal loyalty to me, and the second qualification is the ability to constantly sound like you're on the verge of tears about immigrants, culture war, the Smithsonian, whatever I decide to distract my minions with that week. So here is Ghislaine Maxwell actually testifying, a little bit of her testimony about Donald Trump's propriety in all settings.
President Trump received a massage?
Never.
Never. Did you ever observe, you said that you were, I mean, have you seen there's photographs, public photographs of Mr. Epstein and President Trump together?
Yeah.
And there's photographs of, I think you're in some of the photographs as well. Those all appear to be social settings.
Yeah. That's my memory. There was social.
Now listen to Blanche. Listen to Blanche. Well, those all appear to be
those were
social. He's not even trying to put a good face on it. That is how little respect they have for Donald Trump supporters. He's not even trying.
Right.
He's not even trying to pretend to be confrontational with her.
Yeah.
So here's a little bit more of that.
I certainly never witnessed the president in any of, I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
In all respects, yes.
All respects.
The president was interested in purchasing a portion of the island from Jeffrey to use as an animal sanctuary for stray dogs and cats.
The president actually, originally, Tiger King was going to be about Donald Trump. It was going to be, but then he got elected president. He couldn't commit to the project. So they got that gay man. I think he was gay. I believe he was gay. That's what I've heard. So here, look, I looked at the account. It looks like it is not a parody account, but his name is Donnie Cope.
Oh, I mean, interesting.
No, but the account looks legit.
No, maybe it's for real. It's just legit. Ironic. Yeah.
The Justice Department has just released, got that from the boss, the official transcripts and audio from their interview with Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. And it's devastating for the left smear campaign against Donald Trump. For years, Democrats and their mainstream media allies have tried to tie President Trump to Epstein. They ran innuendo, rumors, and lies, hoping people would believe guilt by association. Meanwhile, they covered up for President Bill Clinton, the man who took 26 trips on Epstein's private jet, the Lolita Express, with no Secret Service and no accountability. Here's the truth straight from Maxwell's sworn testimony. Now, you know what's really crazy about this? She cleared Clinton, too. She also cleared Bill Clinton. So how do you embrace this testimony by way of saying they should be looking at Clinton, saying she's very credible when she's talking about how Trump didn't do anything wrong? Well, then isn't she credible about Clinton? So why are you talking about Clinton? She says he was an angel. Maxwell characterized President Bill Clinton, who traveled on Epstein's plane, as someone she, rather than Epstein, was close with. Quote, President Clinton was my friend, not Epstein's friend, she said. Clinton traveled on Epstein's plane about 26 times, she said, but she characterized it as one journey and said she knows Clinton didn't receive a massage during it. So this is some of the actual testimony. Do you know whether, for example, President Clinton ever received a massage? Maxwell, I don't believe he did. Blanche, and what makes you say you don't believe he did? Maxwell, well, because I don't. So that's a good question. The time that Epstein and President Clinton spent together, the only times I believe, well, obviously they traveled. There was that, you know. Does this sound like someone who's not making it up as they go to you? The plane, went on the plane 26 times or whatever. That would be one journey. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Is this like a Doctor Who Time Lord thing? What do you mean that's one journey? He took 26 flights or he didn't take 26 flights. So they spent time on the plane together, and I don't believe there was ever a massage on the plane. So that would have been the only time that I think that President Clinton could have even received a massage, and he didn't because I was there. Well, you know, we literally have pictures, unlike a lot of questions around the Epstein case. We literally have him getting a massage from one of Epstein's victims. We literally have a photo of it.
Maybe she was trying to strangle him.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. Maybe he was about to give up Jeffrey's connections to a certain Middle Eastern country.
Yeah.
The woman in the photo is Shantae Davies, 22 at the time in 2002, which was on a humanitarian trip to Africa organized by the Clinton Foundation while traveling on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, the Lolita Express. Oh, I see what she's saying. She's saying all 26 flights were on this one junket. Davies later accused Epstein. I've seen the flight logs. I don't think that could possibly be true. I think it was too spread out over time. But
It's a long junket. It's a wild aid mission.
That's some aid mission, yeah.
Yeah.
Davies later accused Epstein of fill in the blank and assaulting her repeatedly, and was working as a massage therapist and air stewardess on the flight. According to Davies, Ghislaine Maxwell encouraged her to give Clinton the massage. So again, Maxwell's statement contradicts victim testimony. This is part of what's funny. You're going to see as we go through this testimony. It's a big club and you ain't in it. She goes and clears pretty much everybody. The only person she fingers is a guy from Harvard, which Trump kind of signaled that that's who he wanted thrown under the bus. When he did that Oval Office press interview, where he was like, I was lucky enough not to go to the island. In that whole interview, he said, they should look at people from Harvard. So she fingered someone from Harvard. Not getting a sexual massage, because that would compromise her innocence. According to her, she never saw anything wrong in this entire time. Case in point, she claims that Giuffre could not possibly have had sex with Prince Andrew because the bathroom was too small. I shit you not.
He says that they had relations in a bathroom. First of all, the bath is an old Victorian bath. I'm quite small, tight for me. I put my brother in there to see what would happen, and it looks like a blivet, which is a sausage. So her description of whatever the two people were doing in the tub, that would work. The bathroom itself is so small you can't lie flat on the floor, so it couldn't happen on the floor because you physically can't. And then the kitchen.
There's no other way you could possibly have intercourse but to lie flat.
Because the bathroom is so small, I decorated it to try and make it look huge.
We're not
which meant
animals.
I put mirrors the whole way around it.
We're British. We're civilized people. We have sex lying flat. There's no room in the bathroom to lie. There's no room in the loo to lie flat. Therefore, any form of fornication would be spatially impossible.
Actually, I didn't get the audio, but if you read the rest of the transcript, she goes on to say, it was very shocking to people in England when Last Tango in Paris came out because they have sex upright.
Right.
And we don't do that. We don't have the sex upright. The film was actually banned in England because they didn't want to give people ideas about upright sex. Now, being American, maybe she introduced Prince Andrew to this concept, but I think it's highly unlikely. Check your text.
All right.
She's asked whether there is a client list. This is what she had to say.
Do you have a list of names in your head or names that come to mind of people that you know did get massages when they were with Mr. Epstein?
No, there's no list. There's no list of people getting massages. I can barely recall all the people. I can barely recall. I struggle to recall actual people that I met.
Never saw nothing. And what I did see, I don't remember. So Mud Puppy on XChan. That's quite a handle there. Here is evidence of Ghislaine Maxwell lying during her interview with Blanche on the topic of blackmail and if there were videos, pictures. So here is what she said about the question of Epstein's properties being wired for video and sound.
Need to. So I built those houses, many of them. I decorated those houses. I put the electricians in for the wiring. I never wired nor saw a single house that had any type of inappropriate, let's say, video surveillance, and I'll define that for you. Inappropriate surveillance would mean in a bathroom, in a bedroom, in any private area of a home.
In a room where there were massages given.
Inappropriate. I would say I would define a...
Okay, so according to Ghislaine Maxwell, she personally designed these houses, certainly would have known if there had been any cameras, and according to her, based on her intimate knowledge, there were no such cameras. And yet the New York Times just a couple of weeks ago published photos. This is a bedroom right off the massage room where they showed very clearly a surveillance camera. And another room there, some have pointed out the blue and white decor. Make of that what you will. I've heard he was a big fan of the Louis XIV court, so maybe that's what it was.
He's actually running a blackmail operation for Greece.
For Greece,
Yeah.
it's also, if you've been to Santorini, it's all blue and white over there. In a 2-page July memo declaring it wouldn't be releasing its files on Epstein, the FBI said its investigators concluded Epstein died by suicide, self-deletion, in his Manhattan jail cell in August of 2019. Maxwell questioned that finding in her interview with Blanche. This one's really bizarre. I do not believe he died by suicide, no, she said. However, Maxwell also disputed conspiracy theories suggesting someone outside the jail had Epstein killed to keep him silent. This is really something here. Ghislaine Maxwell, I do not believe he died by self-deletion. No, Blanche. And do you believe that? Do you have any speculation or view of who killed him? Maxwell, no, I don't. Blanche. And I ask that because you don't believe that there's any truth to the allegations of blackmail, or that he had that kind of a list, or that he had reasons to have people hate him. Why would someone kill him in prison? Maxwell, in prison where I am, they will kill you or they will pay. Somebody can pay a prisoner to kill you for $25 worth of commissary. That's about the going rate for a hit with a lock today. Blanche. So that goes to the third reason, which is kind of the mismanagement. Maxwell, yes. So she would have you believe that Epstein got killed over an extra portion of pudding in the prison lunchroom or something.
Yeah.
Somebody put out a hit on him because he was too greedy with the desserts.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody just decided to pay $25 to hit Jeffrey Epstein at what's supposed to be one of the most secure prison facilities in the country. They just, I don't like that guy. I don't like the cut of his jib. Okay. And she kind of has to say, I mean, it's very weird that she would say, well, I don't think he self-deleted, and then go through this whole rigmarole of how he would have been killed, but it couldn't have had anything to do with blackmail because he didn't do anything to blackmail anyone with. Right? He would. I mean, she's basically arguing Epstein was innocent too. We were all innocent. Nothing actually happened. Of course, it's possible, Maxwell said, but I don't know of any reason why. And I don't believe in the blackmail or in any of this. I don't think Epstein had a hit on like that. She added that she thought the idea was ludicrous because Epstein would have been a very easy target before he was jailed in 2019 if a powerful person had actually decided to take him out. If Epstein was murdered, she believes it was an internal situation. Okay, so they didn't have a reason to do that to him when he wasn't in a position where it might be to his benefit to tell people what he knew. Once he's under prosecution, I mean, the mob doesn't whack you just because, right? Very often they'll whack you after you get arrested because they're afraid you're going to cop a plea. I mean, it's just amazing to say, well, why wouldn't they have done it to him before he had a reason to rat them all out? Incredible. Blanche asked Maxwell about banking records indicating that Epstein sent her or her entities about $30 million in money over several years. The transfers included about $18.3 million in 1999, $5 million in 2002, and $7.4 million in 2007. By 2005, Epstein was under investigation for sex crimes involving young people. Maxwell denied that Epstein was paying her for recruiting underage girls to be abused, as prosecutors suggested at her trial. She said some of the transfers could have been to accounts controlled by Epstein's accountants, or could have been loans from Epstein for her business ventures. Quote, "He never paid me for any nefarious reason," Maxwell said. "I don't think this money is mine." Maxwell, look at that bag of money there. That doesn't belong to me. Maxwell maintained her innocence throughout the 2 days of interviews, despite being convicted in 2021 of conspiring to entice and transport minors for illegal acts and of trafficking a minor to Epstein. Maxwell currently has an appeal pending at the U.S. Supreme Court. She said she never knowingly recruited anyone underage to perform massages for Epstein and never witnessed sexual abuse. Quote, "I never saw a single masseuse ever look unhappy or not come back or whatever," she said. This, I mean, it's really the brazenness of this is kind of stunning. So here's just one of her victims, Sarah Ransom, explaining how deeply involved and personally involved Maxwell was in her abuse.
She makes me sick that she is claiming to be a victim or have any form of innocence. This is the same woman that grabbed my arm and forced me into a room to be raped by Jeffrey. It was brutal. And I remember limping from Jeffrey's bedroom to the bungalow where the survivors slept. And I remember looking at Ghislaine, and she had this evil smirk on her face. She knew by forcing me into Jeffrey's room that I was there to be raped, and she enjoyed it.
Do you have that video?
I mean, I'm assuming this is the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see what Epstein says about whether Trump was ever doing anything inappropriate in his presence.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
Okay, well, so right from the man himself, obviously what Maxwell is saying is absurd on the face of it. It's not even in any way plausible. She never saw anyone do anything wrong. She never saw, not just Trump, she never saw anything criminal. She never took part in anything criminal. All of these witnesses, all of these victims are lying. They've all reached these settlements with the Epstein estate in spite of the fact that nothing actually happened. I mean, going by her testimony, if anything happened, she never saw it. She was the most oblivious person in the world, and as far as what she saw, nothing was inappropriate. Now, I've seen this question asked here and there, which is a pretty willfully blind question to ask, but a very common defense against the cognitive dissonance of Trump's fans in acknowledging that he was involved in this thing that they supposedly elected him to put a stop to and to expose is, well, if he was involved, why wouldn't the Democrats have released it? Because they were involved too.
Because they're involved too, obviously.
Julian Assange put it very well. The reason the FBI wouldn't let the Epstein client list come out in court is because if they did, their blackmail would no longer be useful, and the CIA would lose their control over all the powerful people they spent decades setting up. It's not a Republican thing. It's not a Democrat thing. It's not a Trump thing. It's not a Clinton thing. It's a big fucking club, and you ain't in it. They're all covering for each other. If you assume, as is very clear, that somehow they got instructions, probably through her lawyer, to Maxwell of what they wanted her to say in that interview, she doesn't just clear Trump, she clears everybody. She clears everybody, and she also, because Trump is going to pardon her, this is part of what they have agreed to, in my opinion, from observing how this has played out. They told her she has to not admit to any wrongdoing so that they can later say, well, there's no real evidence she committed wrongdoing.
Right.
She says she didn't. They can't just pardon her if she says, yes, I have a lot of regret that I facilitated these horrible crimes against these underage girls. They can't. He just can't pardon her that way. So she has to say, no, I never saw anything. And then Trump's going to say, yeah, well, she says, I never saw anything. She never saw anything. You know, this is maybe Jeffrey was a very sick person, but, he kept it very secret. Most people didn't really know what was happening.
Well, right. And if she says, but Bill Clinton is a monster, then it looks too partisan, right? It looks too much like a quid pro quo. So just exonerate everybody and we'll pardon her. That's obviously the arrangement here. It's as obvious as could possibly be. I just find it hilarious, and I think I tweeted this from maybe the Due Dissidents or maybe the personal account, because Donnie Cope was just one example. You had countless people, including very big accounts. I don't want to name names because I forget who specifically, but the usual suspects, as they say, coming out and just like touting this Maxwell testimony as if it exonerates Trump. So I tweeted something. It was like, okay, so MAGA's new character witness is Ghislaine Maxwell. That's your character witness now. Oh, well, she said he didn't do anything, so I guess that means his hands are clean. But it's laughable. It's just laughable. It doesn't matter what she says. And this is the hole they dug for themselves with that memo that they sent now, almost 2 months ago, whatever the timeline is. Past that point, whatever they do looks like part of the cover-up. If you're not going to release everything, then there's no point cherry picking. There's no point calling certain people in to ask certain questions, because at this point, everything looks like it is in service of that initial cover-up, because it is. It obviously is. And so there's no digging out of it. It's just impossible. The only way to dig out of it would be to just release everything. And for many reasons, obviously, they are not prepared to do that. And so how anyone can take any of what she says seriously is just beyond me. It's beyond laughable. Like, it is one of the most ridiculous stories ever, that you have a faction of the country actually hanging their defense of Donald Trump on the word of Ghislaine Maxwell. It's beyond comedy. It's like, if you wrote this as a satire, it would be rejected. Be like, no, this is just not possible. Like, it's too implausible to be funny, to even work as a piece of irony. But that's the world right now. That is the country we live in right now.
Yeah, you can demand that it's snobbish and elitist to consider Donald Trump supporters stupid, or you can support the Ghislaine Maxwell defense. You can't have both.
Right, exactly. Like, they're out here telling you that you should put any suspicions of Trump to bed on the testimony and word of Ghislaine Maxwell, because Ghislaine Maxwell vouched for him. He must be clean. It's absolutely stunning. It really is.
Well, and this is really the choice that Trump supporters are being offered. If you want to keep getting that emotional crack that you get from feeling like you have power vicariously by being connected electronically to a vague movements whose precepts make you feel powerful, even though they're not really doing anything tangible to improve your life. Do you want to continue to live in that headspace, or do you want to face the truth? A lot of people will choose the former just because that's how they get through the day, and they can't imagine how they would live without it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It is pretty extraordinary. All right, let's go on to Willie Bragg. Hey, Willie Bragg, haven't seen you in a while.
So,
Hope you're
Willie.
well, Willie. Willie Bragg says, I turned extremely anti-capitalist over the last few years. At one time, I thought it could be reformed. It needs to, however, be replaced. Yes, thank you, Willie. Race Car says, hey, how did Russ's skin heal so fast? His skin looked totally sunburned yesterday, but today it is completely healed. Only Wolverine can heal that fast. Well, you're probably inside most of the day.
I am a mutant.
Yeah. I was inside most of the day, too. And this hotel room is very strange. So the hotel I'm in, not all the rooms have, like, windows to the outside. So this is, like, a real hole in the wall. So, yeah. So I spent all day
Well, like
indoors.
the hotel is nice. Like the hotel's not a hole.
Yeah, it's a nice hotel. It's a fine hotel.
It's nice.
It's perfectly nice. I like the free popcorn, the free breakfast. That's all great. But there's no window. David Santucci, says, looking forward to seeing the rest of the Uhuru documentary. I know you guys will do a great job, and Keaton's devotion to his family is touching. I would have stayed and hung out with Russ. I know. See, so now
See,
it's
you could have come to the Indian Mounds tomorrow. We're going to that.
Have fun. Have fun at the Indian Mounds. Oh, when are you going up the arch? I guess that's next week.
Yeah, well, I'm going to see how things play out. I'm assuming I'm going to interview the chairman on Friday. So things towards the top of my list, I'd like to get to the Grant House. That's one of the things that's further out.
Right.
Other than that, everything's pretty contained. The National Blues Museum, I'll definitely go to while I'm here. I'll go to the Art Museum. Zoo is like optional. I only go to zoos if like when I was in Australia, you got to go to the zoo.
Right.
But if it's not going to be anything I can't see at home, like why take up a day with that?
Right. Yeah, zoos are fun, but yeah, I mean, we got zoos. The Bronx Zoo,
We have
that's an
zoos,
amazing
exactly.
zoo. Yeah.
Yo, man, the fucking.
But the Bronx Zoo is expensive. This zoo is free. I mean, if you go on Wednesday, you can get in the Bronx Zoo for free.
The Sydney Aquarium is sick, man. I've never seen this. They have a crocodile exhibit where it's very intelligently designed. Generally, they hang out at the bottom.
Right.
So when you go by, you're at the bottom. So the crocodile is like right there on the other side of the glass.
Oh, wow.
Just hanging out. Like you've never just looked at a crocodile that close up.
That close, right.
And what you really see is they're dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're dinosaurs, yeah.
They're dinosaurs. That's what it looks like. It looks like you're looking at a dinosaur.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Mike the Russian Bot says, happy Sunday, dissidents. Happy Sunday, Mike. Thanks for being here. Eric Torres says, Russell's passion for pizza is similar to my passion for
pupusas.
Pupusas. If you know, you know. Well, I don't know. So thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. Andy Gardner says, guys, there was a delay and you didn't read my super chats. Mind sending those $500 back? I'll resubmit them. I swear. Thanks. Yeah, you're trying to Nigerian prince us out of the super chats. Right. Thank you, Andy Gardner. Appreciate that. All right. Let's see here. What do we got going on? All right. So Luis De La Cruz says, Keaton, here's $5 for a shot from the hotel minibar. No minibar. It's not that nice a hotel. There's no minibar here. There's no minibar here. And I haven't been drinking at all while I'm here. I'm trying to keep my immune system up since half the people we interact with probably have COVID. and my wife used all of her sick day, all of her paid time off so I can come on this trip, and my kids start school next week, so I'm really trying to not come home and get the whole family sick for 3 weeks. That would be a very bad situation. So I'm not really drinking. I've been. This has been a very, very boring escape for me. I've been drinking water and seltzer, and eating popcorn.
I am looking forward to seeing the rest of the city because downtown is like The Walking Dead. It's really creepy, man, because there's nobody there. There's nobody there, but you have all of these office buildings. There's nobody in them, and what's really weird is the office buildings aren't even destroyed or run down. That's where it's kind of like some kind of science fiction novel where all the people just disappeared from a city.
Yeah, no, it is kind of eerie. Like downtown St. Louis it's
There's nobody there.
Everybody we talk to says the same thing about it. It's like depopulation. Like there's infrastructure here, but there's no people.
No people.
No people here.
So strange.
Yeah. Bear in mind, Ghislaine Maxwell may have a different understanding of what's appropriate from most people. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Yes, her standards of appropriateness are not exactly something to go by. Good point. Good point. I didn't catch that, David, but yes, you are correct about that.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Let's move right on along. Okay, this is a fun story. This came out of nowhere. Russell just texted me this morning. You know, the thing about being on a trip is that you're not glued to Twitter the way you usually are because you're like busy doing things in real life. And so you kind of miss a lot of the Twitter stuff. So I missed this. So apparently, Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire has put out some sort of podcast vouching for Hitler's Pope, Pope Pius, who apparently may or may not have been a Nazi sympathizer Pope. I don't really know too much about the history of that. I've heard, both sides of the argument, but Michael Knowles corrects false history surrounding the Vatican and the Nazis. So he has a podcast series out defending the good name of Pope Pius. So, just to brush up on this very quickly because I didn't have time, whenever there's a question about Hitler or Nazis, I always ask Grok. Grok is my go-to for all things Hitler related. Grok seems like a very reliable, stable voice on this matter. So Pope Pius the 12th...
Or as we like to call it, Mecca Hitler.
Mecca Hitler, that's right, yes. So Pope Pius XII's stance during World War II and his relationship with Nazi Germany are heavily debated. He was not explicitly pro-Hitler, but his actions, or lack thereof, have led to polarized interpretations. Here's a concise breakdown. Some argue Pius was too silent on the Holocaust, failing to publicly condemn Nazi atrocities with enough force. His diplomatic approach, prioritizing Vatican neutrality to protect Catholics and maintain the Church's position in Europe, is seen by critics as complicity or insufficient resistance. All right, you get the idea. Supporters claim Pius XII worked quietly against the Nazis. He was playing 5D chess, apparently, saving thousands of Jews through covert actions. They point to his instructions to convents, monasteries, and Catholic institutions to shelter Jews and his financial support for rescue efforts. All right, very good. We ain't reading all that. Free Palestine. So that's the controversy here, because Rabbi Schmuley Boteach did not take kindly to Michael Knowles' defense of this controversial pope, and so he wrote an article about it. And of course, Schmuley now takes issue with the fact that Ben Shapiro, because Michael Knowles works for the Daily Wire, is harboring a Holocaust minimizer or denier of some sort. So, yes, Rabbi Schmuley accusing Ben Shapiro of being soft on anti-Semitism. Yes, that is
Shapiro
correct.
is not Zionist enough for Schmuley.
I mean, Shapiro always kind of struck me as an anti-Semite,
Yeah.
I can see where he's coming from. So anyway, Schmuley writes this op-ed.
Is that a foreskin in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Desecrating the 6 million, Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, and the rehabilitation of a Nazi collaborator. That's my Schmuley voice. Michael Knowles tweets out, "It's no surprise that someone as proudly ignorant as Schmuley Boteach would continue to calumniate the venerable Pope Pius XII, a hero not only to Christians but also to Jews, countless of whom he saved during World War II. Get the facts for yourself here at my podcast," and then links to the show. Always a self-promoter. So Schmuley replies, "If I'm so ignorant on the Nazi collaborator Pius II," see, Schmuley is like Norm, just not as high-pitched and a little faster. "If I'm so ignorant on the Nazi collaborator Pius XII, Hitler's Pope, then surely, Michael, you'll agree to a live debate against me where each of us puts up a $10,000 bond." That's good. He doesn't embody anti-Semitic stereotypes at all. "Come and debate me. We'll bet $10,000 on it. Each of us will put up a $10,000 bond beforehand, and a panel of independent people decide who won the debate. You have my guarantee that I will annihilate you on any debate about the ignominious and downright shameful Pius XII, one of the most execrable popes in Roman Catholic history. Even the Catholics want no part of Pius, which is why he has not been canonized, beatified, or made into a saint." See, he looked that shit up on Grok.
I'll even throw in 6 nets of Hanukkah gelt.
Yeah, right, exactly. So Michael accepts. Schmuley, I would be delighted to debate you on the subject. Message me with a good email so our teams can connect and work out the terms for a proper debate. In the meantime, everybody check out my podcast. Yeah. Schmuley, thank you for accepting, and I apologize ahead of time to the digital decapitation you will experience in the debate. It's nothing personal, and I promise from my side the debate will remain fact-based and academic. But Holocaust revisionists and Holocaust deniers like yourself must see their arguments disemboweled. That's what will happen. Good email for contact, info@schmuley.com. Yeah,
so we should get them on.
That's a smart thing to do. Just publish your email address on Twitter like that. Let's make it easy. We do the debate. You probably have to sign up for, like, promotional material, so you'll get, like, dildo ads emailed to you 4 or 5 times a day. Let's make it easy. We do the debate on your show ASAP, and let's thereafter do a live in-person debate as well. My team is awaiting yours. Getting in touch. Blessings, Rabbi Schmuley. So then, a few comments later, Michael Knowles says, Schmuley does not appear to have the tightest grip on reality. Nonetheless, he finally put me in touch with his team, which informs me he's traveling, but can debate in person within a few weeks or so. In the meantime, watch my show. Stop lying, Michael Knowles. Stop your pathetic and lame excuses and debate me already, you coward. You sound like Ben Shapiro, who refuses to debate me because he was trimming his beard. I'm traveling in Europe, but we'll debate you on your show tomorrow, Monday, August 25th. I'm 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time. Tell me what time and I will accommodate. You can use ChatGPT, Google, and any other electronic aid. I won't even have a computer or phone. And I promise God willing to decimate you utterly, you Holocaust-denying, sex toy-obsessed, childish coward. I guess Knowles has taken some digs at him for hawking the sex toys. Now agree finally and stop the embarrassing excuses. Give me a time for tomorrow or forever be labeled a coward. Wow, what a pleasant guy.
So did you go in the lab and test those on your daughter personally?
Right, exactly, yeah. Michael Knowles says, I'm not interested in having you on my show, but as I've said from the beginning, I'm happy to participate in the debate you proposed. Here's the message from your producer regarding your travel, since you seem unaware of it. So Schmuley is currently traveling abroad and in Europe, but he would be happy to zoom into the show this upcoming week, followed by an in-person debate in New York in a few weeks. We look forward to hearing back from you and starting next steps. Okay, so that's the backstory. Now, all that leads up to this hilarious video, which Schmuley posted to some of his social media. I didn't see this on his X, but he posted it to his Facebook this morning, and that's where Russell found it. And he sent it to me. So here is Schmuley ranting about how it's time to expose Ben Shapiro for the anti-Semite by association that he is. And Ben Shapiro harboring anti-Semites like Michael Knowles. This is because Michael Knowles works at the Daily Wire. Okay, so this is Rabbi Schmuley. This is great.
Hi, everyone. In the city of Anne Frank, and Anne Frank's house is just right here on the right. The Anne Frank Museum. It's time to talk about Ben Shapiro. We don't have that many defenders.
We just had a sex toy expo at the Anne Frank Museum. It went fantastically well. Said, take these, have fun. Go up in the attic. You can make as much noise as you want.
We thought no better way to show our values as Jews than to have a sex toy expo at the site of Anne Frank's hiding spot.
That's right. Oh, boy.
In global media, which raises the question, how is it that Ben Shapiro, who God has blessed with a high profile, how is it that he's so drawn to anti-Semites? How is it that he so often not only associates with, but employs anti-Semites? It's time
the thing is, a lot of, like, hard right-wing people tend to be anti-Semites. So if you're going to, like, grift in those waters the way Shapiro does, you're going to encounter a decent amount of people who aren't so big on the Jews. That's how he encounters anti-Semites.
Well, and
to the extent that he does. And he doesn't seem to tolerate them very much. Ask Candace Owens about that. That's, by the way, accepting his premise that she is an anti-Semite, which I wouldn't necessarily grant. But the suggestion that Shapiro is soft on anti-Semitism, again, is just so beyond laughable. You don't even know what to say.
And the ones who are what you would consider, supporters of Israel and lovers of Israel, They're just using you for Jesus bait.
Of course.
They think Jesus is going to come back and you're going to convert or get thrown into the lake of fire.
Right.
These are your friends. This is the Huckabees.
Right.
They need you there to bring Jesus back. They're just using you to fulfill biblical prophecy. And the prophecy they believe in assumes that your whole religion is wrong and that you're going to have to abandon it in order to be saved. And if you don't, you're going to be damned. Those are your friends.
Yes.
We had that conversation. Ben Shapiro created Candace Owens, Clandis Ovens. Clan, she's Clan, absolute Grand Wizard of the Clan, and Ovens is where she wants us to choose.
Yeah, we get the joke. We get the joke. It's just not that funny. Okay.
If you have to explain a joke, it's not good.
Listen, my understanding of Judaism is that you don't explain your jokes, right? Yeah, Jews are supposed to be funny enough where we don't have to explain the jokes. So that it offends me as a Jew that you would explain a joke. You're an embarrassment to Judaism if you have to explain your jokes. If you're Jewish, your jokes should be funny enough where you don't have to explain them. Get it? Clandis Ovens, get it? Get it? Clandis Ovens, Holocaust supporter, get it? Great stuff.
Go. How, now you could say maybe he didn't know, but from 2019 and on, when she was praising Hitler, she actually said that she would have no problem with Hitler if he had stayed within his own borders. Do you know what that means? If he was just a nationalist? She would have no problem with Kristallnacht, which took place in Germany, the Nuremberg laws, which took place in Germany, the tens of thousands of Jews before the Holocaust who were sent to Dachau and all the concentration. She would have no problem. And Ben Shapiro continued to employ her for 5 years after that, as she got worse and worse, saying that Israel killed JFK, that Israel is Theodor Herzl was a pedophile, that Israel was created as a haven. He employed her and made money. Okay. I pressured the hell out of him, attacked him nonstop for employing her, and he was forced, because of my pressure, to finally fire her. He wouldn't have done it otherwise. He was making too much money. Now, when you think he'd learn his lesson, and he's never condemned Candace Owens since then, not once, no matter how bad she's gotten. When she said that Jews drink the blood of Christians, which she actually said, she said that the blood libel is actually true, he still didn't criticize her. Now he is not only employing Michael Knowles, a Holocaust revisionist and Holocaust denier, but he's now gotten the Daily Wire to fund a documentary about Hitler's Pope Pius XII. Now, let me just tell you, I've challenged both of them to a debate. Neither of them will do it. I want to just be clear for a second. Without going through all the details, because you can read it, I've written 3 articles since Michael Knowles and Ben Shapiro announced this documentary. It's a disgusting Holocaust-denying documentary about Hitler's Pope. Hey, how's it going?
He won't, I fired, he got rid of Candace Owens, and now, he still employs Michael Knowles. No matter how much pressure I applied, he won't fire Michael Knowles. Can you believe this? The influence he expects to exercise over Ben Shapiro. Just what an obnoxious. He won't even do ad reads for my new line of fleshlights. He won't even advertise my new glow-in-the-dark fleshlight.
I offered him a free fleshlight that was molded for my daughter's pussy. He wouldn't take it, which is a big insult to my family.
Yes.
My daughter cried for 3 days about that.
I even, you know who I am?
Yeah, man.
Why are you taking a picture of me?
I'm doing business with many youths.
With who?
Filming me with
I don't know. You just took a picture of me. Why?
Yeah, of the Meta.
Of the what?
The Braille, man.
I don't hear you. The what?
The Ray-Ban.
Oh.
It's filming me also, yeah?
No, it's not. This is, but doesn't make a difference. You just took a picture of me. Why?
Is he accusing him of filming him with his glasses? The Ray-Ban? He's just saying your Ray-Ban is filming me? A good idea for a documentary would just be to follow Schmuley around.
He pulls this shit in Times Square a lot.
All the time. All the time. Like, within 20 seconds of an interaction with Schmuley, he'll call you a Jew hater.
Yep.
Like, no matter what. No matter what. This happens to him wherever he goes.
You're angry about it?
Just stop and take a picture of me? Why? I'm just asking why. Why take a picture of me?
I'm not discussing about
Is it my yarmulke? Does it bother you?
No.
Do you not like Jews? Is it my tzitzit?
No,
There's something about you like
yarmulke. Does it bother you? You don't like Jews? That's what this guy does. He rides around on his bike in front of the Anne Frank house to troll Jews. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he does. That's what he does for fun.
I liked Jews until approximately 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. My yarmulke, does it bother you? You hate Jews? Again, within 20 seconds. So what? What's wrong? You hate Jews?
You just took a picture of me. Why?
You're angry about it?
Did you stop and take a picture of me? Why? I'm just asking you why. Why take a picture of me?
I'm not discussing you about
Is it my yarmulke? Does it bother you?
No, man.
Do you not like Jews?
Bro,
Is it my tzitzit?
No, man.
There's something about you like Jews.
Yeah, man.
So what Jews don't you like? Why'd you take a picture of me?
Brother, I like you.
Okay, brother. Then I'll call you a brother too. Thank you. God bless you.
Mazal.
Take care. Mazal to you too. Thank you.
I do a lot of mazalito.
Okay, good.
Go to Belgium, I sell white.
Okay, good.
No, maybe
Good.
I'm interested in
Good.
white.
So then we have no issue. Good. God bless you. Take care. But even the Roman, it happens to me all the time. Usually Islamists stop me. I don't know whatever. But even the Roman Catholic Church wants nothing to do with Pius XII. John Paul died in 2009. He was canonized by 2014. It took 9 years. Pius XII died in 1958. It's now 2025.
All right, tell it to someone who cares. I'm not interested in the rest of that. Yeah, what an interaction. That is so great. That is so great. So who knew? Who knew? Ben Shapiro, too soft on anti-Semitism for Rabbi Schmuley.
Too soft on anti-Semitism. This is why I say you're much better off being pro-Palestine because you'll never please these people.
But yeah, no.
You'll never be Zionist. Netanyahu is not Zionist enough for some of these people. He's constantly having to try to appease people who are further to the right than he is.
Right.
They were protesting him for allowing in some aid, which he only did to take some of the international pressure off. It's never enough. It's never enough.
No.
Ben Shapiro is not Zionist.
Well, what exposes it? Well, the thing is, what this exposes is that it's all transactional, right? It's all transactional, and that applies to every context. So, of course, Ben Shapiro is sufficiently pro-Israel, but because Schmuley feels slighted by him that he couldn't get Michael Knowles fired after he got Candace Owens fired, that he feels like what's this guy doing for me now? If this guy's not doing anything for me, he's no good for me, right? It's not even about Zionism or Israel. I mean, how pious, no pun intended, could this guy possibly be with his daughter running around with the sex toy business? Like, he clearly doesn't give a shit. Clearly doesn't really care about anything. It's all about what are you going to do for me? It's all about wheeling and dealing, which is why I say, he is a purveyor of anti-Semitic stereotypes. He is just a comical example of an anti-Semitic stereotype. Like, it is embarrassing as a Jewish guy myself to see this guy walk around. Within 10 seconds, a guy rolls up on his bike. So why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me? Is it my yarmulke? Do you hate Jews? That's it. That's how you act. That's how you act to people. You glance at this guy. What are you looking at? Do you not like my yarmulke? Wow.
Jew? No, not did you eat, but Jew eat.
What a guy. What a guy. All right, we'll move right on along here. Mark Puglisi says, my dudes, we can't hear Russell's cowbell anyway. Yeah, the digital cow. Oh, you mean the new cowbell?
Oh.
I can hear it a little bit. EO Shush says, I watched your Civil War review, which came before Trump was elected, and my thought at the time was good movie, slight Trump derangement syndrome. With Trump's actions seems more predicting the future. Yeah, it does.
Yep.
It does.
Right.
And, I like that movie a lot. I thought it was great. Even though, the politics did seem, as you mentioned at the time, yes. But it proved more prescient than that. Furl's Queen says, I say back in the days when I had sex before my heart got broken forever, the list of ways we could have intercourse was at least 6 ways, maybe even 7. It wasn't just flat, FYI. Is that true? Is that so, Furl's Queen? Oops, sorry. I think... Okay, there we go. 3, Tom the Bomb. Only a revolutionary American Bolshevik party can never hold the Epstein perpetrators accountable. Gulags are good. Join the American Communist Party chapters all across the country. ACP.us. Our $10 ACP promoter. We like you. Kay Biscaro, curious if you've seen the Gianmarco Soresi stand-up bit, The Redefining of Anti-Semitism. Some of the smartest and funniest anti-Zio comedy I've seen. Could work in an intermission break sometime. Yeah, we should look into that.
That sounds good.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you for that.
Oh, shit. I didn't even do an intermission today.
Yeah, I mean, how could we have time? Why should the U.S. fund everybody else's wars while American families suffer? Join the American Communist Party at acp.us. Join, because the future belongs to the working class. So you're the $1 guy. Why don't you just call the $10 guy and have him give us an $11 rant. That's an you know, and then you know, might be the more efficient way to go. Speaking of Catholics, go visit the Cathedral Basilica St. Louis on Lindell Boulevard. The interior will blow your mind, regardless of your faith. I think we were right there today.
That
right?
is on
Didn't
my
we see
list.
it?
I don't think that
wasn't the
I
one.
don't think that was it. No.
Okay. Yeah,
No.
we saw a big
Although
church.
probably because that basilica is popular, that might be why they had the Byzantine mosaic outside, because that probably set a motif in the area.
Oh, okay.
Because from what I've seen, it has that style on the interior of the basilica.
Ah, interesting. Okay. CEB Applejack 59, thanks for the $5. Says, shout out, Due Dissidents. Expect to hear from me very soon, guys, with some on-the-ground reporting. I'll let Misty announce. You guys are killing it. Oh, thank you. Look forward to that, man.
Cool.
Appreciate that. Dorian Marquise says, remember the audio you guys played of Epstein when he said, if I said what I knew about both candidates, they'd have to cancel the 2016 election? I did not hear that. I never heard that.
Did we
audio.
play that?
Did we play that? I don't think we ever
think
played
I think I'd remember that.
Yeah, that sounds like a memorable quote to me. Obviously, Bill Clinton had 26 layovers for the one flight. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
Stu Shadwell sent an email with St. Louis recommendations. Beast Barbecue in Belleville on the Illinois side. City Museum. John Carpenter's Escape from New York here. Chain of Rocks Bridge was used in filming. Oh, thank you, Stu.
Yeah,
Appreciate
City Museum I'm going to have to go to. That's supposed to be pretty cool. I do have that bridge on my list, but I think it's a little outside of town, right? I'm probably going to rent a bicycle.
Yeah,
so maybe I can get there. I'll see how far out it is.
Gulnara Marchesi says, thanks for the $10 super sticker. Appreciate that. Epstein had a CPAP machine in his cell. The cord animated like in Christine. No foreign actors. Why a full-size cement truck when there was no construction? Why did the sweetheart deal evaporate? Scott Siegling, thanks for the $4.99. Artie Barty Fart Blast, thanks for the $4.99. Thanks for the $4.99 super sticker. Appreciate that very much. What happened? Where is this? Oh, there we go. Okay, got that. Sorry, getting used to the old interface. It's not the new interface. It's the old one. It's like learning it over again. All right, what do we got? Oh yeah, woke words. This is another funny one. That's you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was reading this because this person
Oh.
saying we played that audio 2 or 3 weeks ago. No, man. We could. How would we forget that? Because I pretty much am the one that covers that.
Yeah. Maybe we did. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right. Just give me 1 second. Let me clear my stuff out of here.
All right. Here, while you're doing that, hold on. Let me do this. While you're doing that, sorry, working off one screen tonight, folks. So here we go. So hey, as you guys know, we do take sponsorships from you, the audience. So if you have a art project or a book or a music project or a small business that you want to promote, you can do so by going to dudissidents.com/sponsors. Our newest sponsor is The Grifter's Bible. It's a mind-bending novel by El Shabooms, and it's now a free weekly series on YouTube with a soundtrack by Monumental Sonic Architecture. Follow the First Electric Church of Jesus Christ as they combine the bleeding edge of black patented neuroscience with the state-of-the-art Michigas to beat the Great Recession. They sell visions of God to the huddled masses of Deep Ellum, Texas, and the money pours in until the local competition, the police, and the U.S. Navy decide to put a stop to it. There's ass whoopings, car chases, and a showdown at high noon on Good Friday in Dodge City. It's sci-fi noir. It's a picaresque thriller. It's a Western from 10 minutes in the future. It's The Grifter's Bible, and it's a film series by El Shabooms, and it's now got a soundtrack by Monumental Sonic Architecture. A new episode is posted every Monday at youtube.com/@Shabooms. There is the link. So this is a YouTube channel. So go over there and subscribe to El Shaboom's YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Shabooms, and check every Monday for a new episode. Tomorrow's Monday. New episode will drop tomorrow. All righty. You ready? Oh, yeah, there you go.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, we are ready.
All
right. Here we go. Let's work out. Democrats police their word police. Read the list. So the third way Democrats are sounding the alarm about 10 years too late about the woke words. However, as we will see, they completely miss the point like they do. Birthing person, inseminated person, Latinx, subverting norms, housing insecurity, a justice-involved individual, formerly known as an inmate, a blunt memo from Third Way, a center-left think tank, meaning a right-wing think tank in any other country, run by lifelong Democrats, implores opponents of President Trump to ditch jargon that's off-putting and even, quote, deeply alienating to many of the mainstream voters the party needs to win back. Third Way warns Democrats to be wary of words proliferating in elite circles that have closed off open conversations that have made it uncomfortable for many people to engage in hard topics. Whatever your intentions, when you refer to a pregnant woman as a birthing person or a felon as a justice-involved individual, you are not growing the tent, you're making it smaller. Matt Bennett, a Third Way co-founder, tells Axios. The memo, was it something I said, is addressed, quote, to all who wish to stop Donald Trump and MAGA, unquote. The aim, Bennett said, is to help persuade public-facing allies. Now, it's funny. They don't want the use of these jargony seminar room kind of terms, and yet they use one in the memo.
Public-facing allies.
Public-facing allies. So that's right in that wheelhouse. Mostly elected officials and candidates, but also advocates, to use words their high school classmates use. Just talk like a normal person, for Christ's sakes. Wow, that's quite an insight. Between the lines, the memo acknowledges that, quote, some will take issue with the inclusion of words or phrases we ask Democrats to avoid when talking to the public, and to reiterate, we have used some of these phrases in our own writings in the past. Oh, you don't say.
You made them up. I mean, maybe not technically,
Right.
but you brought them into the lexicon.
Right. And you helped to steer the party in this direction in order to to steer it away from a meaningful class analysis. We'll get to that. But Third Way says many of the words are, quote, a red flag for a sizable segment of the American public. It is not because they are bigots, but because they fear cancellation, doxing, or trouble with HR if they make a mistake, or they simply don't understand what these terms mean and become distrustful of those who use them. So instead, they keep quiet. Yeah, they keep quiet and vote for Trump. But again, they're telling maybe 20% of the story here. But okay, let's take a look at this. So it's broken down into 6 categories. So from therapy speak, I think it was 45 words total they said not to use. Therapy speak, suggesting the speaker is more empathetic than you and you are callous to hurting others' feelings. So the words are privilege, violence, as in environmental violence, dialoguing, othering, triggering, progressive stack. I don't even know what that is. Yeah. Okay. Centering, holding space. See, we're not woke. We don't even know what all these words are.
Holding space is bad. Centering.
I mean, all of it is jargony and evocative of a certain worldview and a certain cultural stance. We'll get into where that comes from. Seminar room language, which suggests the speaker is smarter and more concerned about important issues than you. Your kitchen table concerns are small. So these words are subverting norms, systems of oppression, critical theory, cultural appropriation, postmodernism, Overton window, heuristic. I think they're going a little far with that. I mean, Overton window.
Overton window.
That's neutral. Yeah. That's not particularly woke. Postmodernism, when you see that word, it's usually in the effort to criticize people who use terms like critical theory in an unironic way.
Well, yeah, and Overton window is often used to criticize groups like Third Way Democrats, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, whose business model is to keep the Overton window as narrow
as tight
they
as
possibly
possible.
can.
Yes.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, they created these problems, and now they're coming in and, you know, paying each
Now
other all this
they're
money
the
to
white
solve it.
knight.
I mean, this is
Yes.
very much like the guy who kidnaps the dog and then waits for the $5,000 reward signs to go up on the telephone poles, and then he brings the dog back to the owner and gets the reward.
Yeah, well, they lit the fire, and now they
Yeah.
want to show up and put it out.
Yeah.
Organizer jargon, which makes it sound like the party is beholden to groups, not individuals. Radical transparency, small d democracy, barriers to participation, stakeholders, food insecurity, housing insecurity. Okay, I mean, again, these are not as strong as the earlier ones, but okay. I mean, yes, it's more about the kind of people who use the terms than those terms.
Yeah, but they got to have a
for
big
the most
list
part.
because they probably paid themselves $100,000 a piece to compile this document.
Yeah, per term.
So they can't submit, 7 words.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Gender orientation correctness, suggesting to listeners that their views on traditional genders and gender roles are at best quaint. Birthing person, inseminated person. I haven't even heard that one.
That's
Pregnant
anti-Semitic
people.
when you are a Jew hater, inseminated person?
Pregnant people, chest feeding. That's one of the worst. That's really one of the worst.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Heteronormative, patriarchy. Yeah, I mean, patriarchy, they ruined it. They overused it, and now it's poisoned. You used to be able to use it. Now you can't anymore, really. The shifting language of racial constructs, signaling you could be called out as racist if you do not use the latest and correct terminology. Yes, Latinx, which as many polls have shown, people in that community don't like themselves. They don't like it. Intersectionality, minoritized communities. And 6 is explaining away crime, making it sound like the criminal is the victim is an afterthought. Justice involved, carceration, involuntary confinement. Okay, so getting to the point here of third way missing the point, Politico did an article that had more quotes from the third way people. So it gives you a lot more insight into what they think the problem really is and what they think the solution would be. Because up to this point, if you're kind of like an anti-woke person, you might say, yeah, well, I don't like third way, but at least they figured out what the problem is. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Quote, the Democratic Party brand is toxic across the country at this point with way too many people. Enough that there's no way for us to win a governing majority without changing that. Lene Erickson, Third Way's senior vice president, said. Part of the problem was that we were using words that literally no normal people used, that we were sticking to messages that were so overly scripted that they basically sounded like nothing. All right, so on the first part of this, I'm just going to point out their politics are so performative, so pointless, so lacking in vision or structural or systemic critique that their solution to this problem is coming from the same exact point of view that created the problem. Politics is a matter of manners and gestures for these people. So rather than, well, there's no purpose for a Wall Street-owned left party to exist. It's an oxymoron. It's a contradiction of terms. And as a result, we had to create this whole kabuki of wokeness around language and behavior in the absence of a meaningful class analysis and a politics that would actually appeal to the workers that we claim to represent. We're offering them nothing, so we had to disappear up our own asses with this performative politics because we don't have anything else. And she proves that that is exactly what they mean by what she offers as the solution right after this. Pete Buttigieg, she said, is doing a great job of going into spaces that are maybe not hostile, but unusual spaces for him to be in, and having real conversations about complicated topics like transgender people in sports and saying, I think you should have empathy toward people that are figuring this issue out for the first time. And you should have empathy towards transgender kids and their families. But he's not afraid to say those things. And he's getting yelled at. That's the solution. That's the solution. The solution is not, and look, this is a cultural thing. The solution is not, well, this was a wrong-headed thing to even try to tell people to get behind. And, you don't have 80% of the public against something because they're all ignorant bigots. Maybe we should just drop this. No, the solution is have Pete Buttigieg still push that agenda, but in a way that acknowledges some people are uncomfortable with it and doesn't openly attack them as bigots. That's their idea of a solution. You don't change the platform of the program at all. They haven't suggested any change to the actual agenda. They just want to change the language and presentation around it. And the reason they can't go further than that is because in order to go further than that, they'd have to dismantle themselves.
Of course.
They are core to this problem. As you pointed out, they largely created this problem. They're certainly part of the complex of think tanks that created it. And they were created by their corporate funders to do exactly this, to create a left that is so repulsive that it empowers a reactionary backlash that eliminates what little social safety net from the New Deal era remains. That is what they are there for. But it's gotten so bad, they're so weak at this point as a result of the success of those efforts. This is not a bug, them losing the argument. It's a feature. They wanted people like Trump and J.D. Vance in charge because that's very good for the kind of people who fund organizations like Third Way. But you have to ask yourself, why are Democrats in particular so attracted to this? Uniquely amongst all members of the public, Democrats, people who are attracted to the Democratic Party, love this kind of language. People are attracted to the modern Democratic Party. They love it. They embrace it. And as a result, I think you could write 100 memos like this. And the kind of people who are in that party are not going to want to give it up because of their psychological makeup. So let's talk a little bit about what purpose jargon serves from a sociological perspective, the way sociologists see jargon.
For example, self-regulation in sociology or code switching in linguistics are terms that may confuse those outside these fields. This specialized language can foster group cohesion as it creates shared norms among members. However, jargon can also create barriers. It can exclude those who are not familiar with the terms, reinforcing social hierarchies. This exclusion often highlights power dynamics, as those fluent in jargon may hold more authority or expertise. In sociology, jargon is often seen in discourse communities.
Okay. The point is to separate yourself from the unwashed, from the deplorables. That's the point of the language. They don't want to win people over. They want to elevate themselves above other people with the use of this jargon. Now, why Democrats in particular? Well, it's often been observed. I mean, if you've been in this country for 2 seconds, it's pretty obvious. People who are attracted to the Democratic Party as it currently exists tend to be very insecure, very neurotic kind of people. Now, this is a big part, studies have shown, of why people use jargon. The people who use jargon do not tend to be the actual elites. Do you see Bill Gates using this kind of language? I've never heard Bill Gates use this kind of language. to use a Democrat-friendly oligarch as an example. Have you ever heard Mark Zuckerberg use that kind of language even before his Trump turn? No. Studies have shown people use jargon to make up for their low standing in a group. A little bit from this article. By definition, jargon refers to language used by a particular group of people in the place of more accessible words and phrases. And although that can make it frustrating and confusing for people not in that group, if you are a member, then it can help signal to others that you belong. People may also use jargon as a way of displaying their expertise. But according to a series of studies published in Organizational Behavior and Human Decision Processes, those who are of low status within a group are also predisposed towards jargon-filled language. Zachariah Brown at Columbia University and colleagues found that these people appear to want to compensate for their lowly position by using language that is often associated with high status. There are very few, by definition, elites. There are very few actual elites. Certainly not enough to win elections or to gain political power or to build a business marketing to a sizable enough population like Lululemon that you can actually make a profit, right? So who are you marketing to? You're marketing to wannabes, and wannabes are inherently insecure people. The kinds of people who are attracted to the Democratic Party are people who tend to want to connect themselves to the elites, defer to experts, show that they have the right opinions. It's an entire party made up of hall monitors and Tracy flicks. These are all aspirants who, for the most part, so you think of Democrats as elites, they're really not. They're the aspiring bourgeoisie.
Well, yeah, they're the petty bourgeois,
trying to pretend to have elite status. And this is why it's so easy to program them, why it's so easy to tell them absolute absurdities like the women in sports, trans women in sports thing, and have them buy it. There's almost nothing you could tell them that they won't accept if you tell them that not accepting it makes them not elite, makes them not aligned with the elite. As we have seen, certainly over the last decade, they don't really seem to have a limit because their motivation is to connect to those elites. It doesn't matter what you tell them when it comes to that barrier of I'm going to lose status. And usually, because they wind up as at lower or middle levels of the PMC, they're not in a position where they can assert themselves and not risk professional and personal harm. So even if they might think that something sounds kind of funny, as soon as the word goes out from the media, from CNN and MSNBC, as soon as the word goes out of what you're supposed to believe or think or reflect about a subject, what your opinion is supposed to be, that's it. They will accept it. Now, we've covered quite a lot, particularly since the election. We just covered a Ghislaine Maxwell story tonight. There's a whole other thing going on there. But that is much more a thing of the truly economically insecure and desperate people who feel that they've lost status, trying to find a way to status vicariously. I mean, this is always the appeal of fascism, by connecting themselves to a movement that tells them if you pick up those precepts, it's going to make you powerful. This is different. The kinds of people who are psychologically disposed to be Democrats, modern Democrats, for them, it's all about reflecting the tastes of the elites and being perceived as one of the good kids who brings the apple to the teacher. That's it. That is what motivates those kind of people. And that's why they'll never stop using this jargon. Their politics is this jargon and very little else.
Yeah, well, that also explains when you look at the trajectory of an issue like Israel-Palestine, how you could see how the Democratic support has shifted from Israel to Palestine based on the trends of what was acceptable to think.
Right.
Yep. In October 2023, the acceptable position that, made you welcome in elite circles was that you were supportive of Israel. And so you had, most Democrats feeling that way. Now you have the progressive, I won't even call them the base because the progressives are really not the base of the party anymore, but you had them, taking a more pro-Palestine stance based on their conviction. But where did that other shift come from? Because the shift has been pronounced. It's been 40% of the party.
Yep.
That 40% has moved slowly with the, how's this, Overton window, right? It's moved with the Overton window. And that's why it's happened gradually, because they have to be led by the consensus opinion, right? They can't get ahead of the consensus opinion because that puts them out of sync and out of step with the elite class, right? They can only go as fast as mainstream opinion will allow them to go, and no faster. And that's why you've seen, I think, the trends on that issue go the way they have at the pace that they have within the party. That's a perfect reflection of this as well. All right. Here we go. Scorpionic Sag says, it seems like the people who hung out with Epstein were LARPing the Roman Empire, so they thought it was fine for elites to engage in sexual misconduct. Yeah, well, I mean, that is an age-old thing, is it not? Amadeus says, Nazis' first treaty was with the papacy, salutes by bishops and all. The British royals also did the salute. Thanks, Amadeus. Just like the left, the right will eat itself. Popcorn. All right. Excuse me. Tenured Village says, I live in St. Louis and can drive Russ around. Well, the Uhuru people have been very kind to us. They've been hooking us up a lot. So Russ is taken care of. Thanks for the offer. But yeah, Russ has got we've got full service experience.
I've got an entourage, man.
Yeah, full service experience here. St. Louis food is trash, says the judge. All right, thank you. Appreciate that.
But look, man, I'm not trashing all the food, just the pizza.
Yeah, just the pizza. The other stuff,
and only because they drew attention to themselves by claiming to have a version.
We went to a good Middle Eastern place. With Mark the other day.
Everything I have eaten has been good except for that.
You know, it was good. That mint lemonade, that was slamming.
Even the toasted ravioli wasn't bad.
Yeah, the toasted ravioli is not bad.
It's
fine. I mean, the main thing is the breading and the pasta is fine, but there's no reason for that meat filling shit. Just put cheese in it. It's better.
Yeah,
you don't got to reinvent
guess.
the wheel. The ricotta cheese is perfect in a ravioli. You don't got to fucking fluff it up with whatever that shit is in there.
Well, but they didn't invent that. I mean, there are meat raviolis.
There are meat raviolis, but this doesn't even seem like a meat ravioli. This seems like a meat and cheese like whipped up into some sort of
but that exists.
It's not unheard of.
The toasted part is their thing,
right? But it's not toasted; it's fried. Shmuley, if you beat me in the debate, I'll send you the 15-inch Miriam uses to wreck Bonus's rectum when he gives her lip, so your wife can give you the Gaddafi treatment too. Good one, Raven Laz. Appreciate that. Adam Chester, my nuts, says, didn't this guy invent dildo tossing at public events? Ken Minji says, I get it now. Clandis Ovens, ha ha. There you go. See, he's hilarious. Shmuley at dinner. You think I'm funny? Funny because I'm a Jew, like I'm here to amuse you with a routine? Anti-Semite.
I mean, we've seen him debate. He's going to start screaming over.
Oh, he just screams over
5 minutes in.
Exactly, yeah. Adam Chester, my nuts, says, if you leave a vehicle by the city museum, it'll be broken into within the day. Is that true?
I do not have a vehicle, so I'm not going to have to worry about that.
Got to tell his entourage that. If you go to Chain of Rocks Bridge, be armed like a snake. It's a place where women and students are and tossed from the bridge. Oh, that's pleasant. Wow.
Really?
Do you work in the at the welcoming center for St. Louis? Is that your job? Do you work in tourism? You really do you write postcards for the city? Is that your job? You write the postcards?
You hand out the little brochures.
Yeah, you hand
things to do in St. Louis.
The museum, they'll break it to your car. You go on the bridge, they'll throw you off. Oh wow. This is my dream says they are trying to deflect. I didn't stop supporting Dems because they use PC words. It's because of their support for genocide and shitty economic policies. I've never heard of 99% of the words listed. Good point. This is my dream.
Every day that they can convince people that the problem with the Democratic Party is the words that they use, they're winning. That's a good day for them.
Right. Indeed. All right. We got one more segment on the night, and then we will head over to Rumble for the Q&A. Got a little business to take care of first. We are up around 1,000 likes. I don't know the exact count because I don't have it with me. But one of those. And well over 2,000 in the YouTube chat. That's good for one of these. All right. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. Okay. So we did get some good news on, I believe it was Friday. That would have been 2 days ago. But I do want to remind you all that the Miccosukee tribe have been protesting Alligator Alcatraz from the beginning. So this is a TikTok video posted by Greg, gre.vo. Give him a follow. He's out there with the protesters. So this is a guy who goes by the name of Popeye, calls himself Popeye. He is of the Osceola bloodline of the Miccosukee tribe, pardon me. Here he is protesting against Alligator Alcatraz upon the announcement of its opening. This was back in June.
It's William Osceola. I go by Popeye, Secretary of the Miccosukee Indian Tribe. Out here today to protest Alligator Alcatraz. It's important to note that people need to stay involved with their government because if not, history backslides to what happened already. You're seeing a situation here where they're trying to contain a group of people, take away their rights, their freedom, their ability to be free, to be sovereign. That's literally why my people are out here to begin with. We don't want history to keep repeating itself, so I urge you, learn your history, stay engaged, stay involved, never give up that fight. That's what they want. They want you to give up. They want you to tear each other apart. You can't give them what they want. Thank you.
Never give up. Betty Osceola said the same thing. Never give up. Well, look what happened on Friday. Judge orders that Alligator Alcatraz detention be shut down for now. A federal judge on Thursday ordered that no more immigrant detainees be sent to a center in the Florida Everglades and that much of the facility be dismantled. The ruling rebuked the state and federal governments for failing to consider potential environmental harms before building the facility known as Alligator Alcatraz. The judge gave both branches of the government 60 days to move out existing detainees and begin to remove fencing, lighting, power generators, and other materials. The order also prohibits any new construction at the site. The decision is a major legal setback for the detention center, the nation's first state-run facility for federal immigration detainees, which has faced several lawsuits and numerous complaints about poor conditions and other problems. The state immediately filed a notice saying it intended to appeal. Judge Kathleen Williams of the Federal District Court in Miami found that the state and federal governments had violated a federal law that requires an environmental review before any major federal construction project. Judge Williams partly granted a preliminary injunction sought by environmentalists and the Miccosukee tribe, whose members live in the area. So, are they going to comply with this? Well, the boy from the box, as we call him, Tom Homan, says, yeah, they will comply with the order.
Alligator Alcatraz, the judge ordering it to be shut down. What does that look like for the ICE agents and then also?
No, they're not going to stop us doing what we're doing. We'll follow the judge's order and we'll litigate it and we'll appeal it. But bottom line is we're going to continue to arrest public safety threats and national security threats every day across this country. When we have to send them to another facility, that's what we're going to do. That's why the president has asked for 100,000 beds in the big, beautiful bill. So we're going to build 100,000 beds. So we're not going to have a lack of bed space. For every illegal alien we arrest, we need a bed. And that's why the 100,000 beds is important. So we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And these radical judges make these decisions. They may slow us up a bit, but they're not going to stop us.
Just to be clear, when you say you're going to follow the judge's order, that means Alligator Alcatraz is not going to be
We
shut
follow
down.
every judge's order while we appeal it and litigate it.
So it will be shut down in the interim.
I don't think that decision's been made yet. We're reviewing.
Okay.
It's a DOJ question. We're reviewing the order, and we'll see where we go from there. But we're not going to defy court. We'll just take it to a higher level and appeal it.
I know.
But in the meantime, they are going to essentially have to shut it down. Even though the order doesn't explicitly say it has to cease operations entirely, they got to remove fencing. They got to remove the construction. They have to dismantle it, which means they're not going to be able to house people there anymore. The Trump administration had argued that a review under the National Environmental Policy Act did not apply because while the center houses federal immigration detainees, it is run by the state. Okay, so that is, of course, an incoherent defense. Okay, just because it's run by the state, it's enforcing federal immigration policy. The people sweeping people up to put them, they're ICE officers. It's obviously a federal action. That was obviously a ridiculous argument, which is why we held out some hope. We did a piece on this last week when the judge had delayed a final verdict, hoping that this would be the ruling, and it is. At the same time, the administration of Governor Ron DeSantis argued that its authority to operate the detention center came from an agreement with the federal government delegating some immigration enforcement powers to Florida. Again, that is an incredibly weak argument. It is you are enforcing federal policy. So the argument that you're going to skirt federal regulations because it's a state action is pretty ridiculous in this context. But Ron DeSantis did try to muster up some tough guy vibes here. DeSantis just announced the deportations will continue at Alligator Alcatraz after an activist judge ordered they start shutting the facility down. We're not going to be deterred. We're totally in the right on this. We're going to open another facility, border bathhouse. I mean, deportation depot. Deportation depot.
Center down in South Florida at Alligator Alcatraz. I just want to say this was not something that was unexpected. This is a judge that was not going to give us a fair shake. This was preordained. Very much an activist judge that is trying to do policy from the bench. This is not going to deter us. We're going to continue working on the deportations, advancing that mission. We knew that this would be something that would likely happen, and we will respond accordingly. That have already been ordered to be removed by the current system, and yet the previous administration didn't want to do anything about it. We're now in this position where we're leading the state efforts to help the Trump administration actually enforce the law and actually remove these illegal aliens from not just Florida, but from our country. And that's something that we didn't have for 4 years. And now that's something that we're absolutely on board with making sure happens going forward. And so we're not going to be deterred. We're totally in the right on this. But I would also note, because of the success of Alligator Alcatraz, there's demand for more. So I did announce that we are going to be opening another facility right outside of Jacksonville in Baker County, and we've called that the Deportation Depot. And so that is something that will be able to hold another 2,000. There's an airport close by, and so you have the processing and then the removal.
They're doing the Hakeem Jeffries thing. They're going by the A is for, Americanism, not autocracy, whatever it is. Yeah, stealing his act there. We're
planning on opening a place called Guillotine Gulch.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I'll stop before we get pulled off YouTube. There are some things you just can't riff on,
Yeah, exactly. So this is Ariana Jasmine. She made a good point here. This is, I think, important to note. Florida tried to create Alligator Alcatraz. The Miccosukee tribe stood up and sued. As a result, a federal judge has ordered the closure of Alligator Alcatraz within 60 days. We need to thank the Miccosukee Nation for their courage and attention to this fight. This victory wouldn't have happened without their commitment to protecting our environment. Yes. Yeah, they were instrumental to bringing these lawsuits, and that's what makes this such kind of a poetic story, is that it's the natives who resisted an ethnic cleansing campaign against them over 150 years ago who ended up stopping this. So this is an article, in the heart of the Miccosukee, the Native American tribe that successfully closed Alligator Alcatraz. The community found refuge from the white persecution deep in the Everglades swamp centuries ago. And this week, together with environmental groups, they succeeded in stopping the immigration detention center built on their ancestral lands. Now, this is a little off topic. I try to keep these segments as concise as possible, but I couldn't resist putting this in the opening paragraph. When tourists wearing Alligator Alcatraz t-shirts walked into the Miccosukee Indian Village craft shop in Florida last week, Troy Sanders, a 35-year-old member of the tribe who works as a museum guide, felt anger. Yeah, of course. I'm sorry. How dumb a piece of shit do you have to be to walk into a Native American-owned gift shop with an Alligator Alcatraz t-shirt on? Like, how big a fucking loser do you have to be to do that? Like, that's like one of the most obnoxious acts you could commit. There are people on the side of the road selling t-shirts that say Alligator Alcatraz, and then other people come into the store thinking it's okay, saying hello, being friendly. They have a huge disconnect from what this all means to us. The Everglades, the vast swamp ecosystem west of Miami, is meant for our tribes to protect life, to safeguard it, not to stop it, Sanders says. For much of the 19th century, Florida people fought to avoid relocation. So this gives you a little bit of the history of these tribes. All native people southeast of the Mississippi had to be deported and removed from their homes to Indian Territory, which was Oklahoma. This included the Miccosukee and the Seminoles. Abiaka, a very old Miccosukee chief, knew we weren't going to win this war against the Americans. He took 100 of his people, Miccosukee and Seminoles, and disappeared into the Everglades, Sanders said. The swamps were their salvation. It was very difficult for the U.S. Army to operate logistically in the Everglades, moving their men, artillery, and supplies. That's why we're still here, because otherwise we would have been taken to Fort Brooke, which is now Tampa, put on a boat, crossed the Gulf of New Orleans, and crossed the Gulf to New Orleans, and forced to join the rest of the Native Americans on the so-called Trail of Tears, herded like cattle to Oklahoma, Sanders summarizes. So yeah, isn't that a poetic story? That these people who are the descendants of this 100 or so Native American resistors who, to avoid being ethnically cleansed from their homeland, retreated into the Everglades to hide from the army where they couldn't get them. They end up settling there, never surrendering. That's why the nickname for these tribes, they call them the unconquered people, the Seminoles and the Miccosukee. They end up settling there, making their home there, and then 170 years later, when the government builds this detention center, it's the descendants of those resistors who end up shutting it down. See, that's a great story. That gives you some hope. Maybe our next documentary could be on them. With our luck, we'll arrive there and we'll find out the guy you're supposed to interview just got eaten by a snake. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, man, I climbed down off Guillotine Gulch.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Be the prisoner for white collar people.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is where, hey, look, a lot of people will come at us when we cover immigration about, suppression of wages. And absolutely, man, when they sell you that idea that we were a nation welcoming of immigrants in the 19th century and early 20th century, as if that was nobility versus nativists. No, man, that was business interests wanted to suppress wages. Wages had been growing for decades up until about 1860. And they wanted to suppress the power of labor. So they brought in mass immigration. Lincoln openly spoke of the need to bring in immigrants in order to bring down the cost of labor. I have long felt that was not an accident that you had this situation at the border. We have the world's largest military by orders of magnitude. You cannot argue that we can't control our border. So, yes, I do believe there was an element of wanting to suppress wages there. I don't believe these people care about that. If they did, they wouldn't. In every other area, they fight to suppress wages, right? I mean, especially DeSantis, Florida. Didn't they in Florida? They had a vote. They had a referendum to raise the minimum wage, and they fought to get around the referendum.
And now what are they doing? What is the other thing they're doing? They're trying to bring like child labor back, right?
They're trying to bring back child labor in multiple states. So you know a thing by what it does. You cannot believe that these people in this one area care about the working person and raising the standard of living and the wage for the working person, when in every single other area they do everything possible to immiserate working people, from suppressing their wages to taking away their health care to removing environmental regulations, removing housing regulations, avoiding any method of controlling the rising cost of housing, everything they can to fuck working people to the benefit of the wealthy. They will try. If they really cared about stopping this problem, why aren't they arresting any of the employers who employ illegal immigrants? Why don't they institute an e-verify system, which would put it all on the employer? That would put it all on the employer. Because in the end, this is not about helping workers. It's about distracting workers while they bring in automation, while they bring in AI, and don't need you anymore. This is a way of sustaining political support from a large number of voters by dangling a shiny object in front of them and telling them something that, makes sense on the surface. Yeah, well, you get rid of these immigrants, you're going to get a higher wage. Well, not. Who was it who tweeted out the apple picking robot?
No, it was, Charlie Kirk tweeted that out.
Charlie Kirk. They are salivating, and you can see it when they bring this up to Basant, when they bring this up to the pigman, Lutnick. Immediately, they start talking about, if you ask them, well, do we have enough American labor to do these jobs? Automation. Immediately, they start talking about AI and automation. Why do they have that on the brain? They are salivating about getting rid of you. All of this immigration, it's just a distraction. In this one area, they care about working people, but in no other area. Does that make any sense? Clearly not. No. That is why, yes, I understand workers who say, well, it's elitist to not care about the wages. No, we care about the wages. We just don't believe that's why they're doing this.
Well, obviously. And, it's a great story that this was shut down. And, they are starting to face, the administration is starting to face losses on this issue, which is encouraging, because it seemed, in February, March, April, that they were just going to be unstoppable. But they won a mandate in 2024 to control the border. Whether you agree with that or not, it's indisputable that they won a mandate to do that. But they completely abused that mandate.
Right.
They abused that mandate and took it places that vast majorities of Americans are not comfortable with. The complete railroading of Abrego Garcia is one. This is another. Just they handled this in such bad faith, because they approached this with bad faith from the beginning.
It's not a bug.
Now
it's
they're
a feature.
just having to retreat. Yeah,
it's all about the show. It's all about the show. It's not about the substance. If they even really wanted to get rid of immigrant labor, like I said, the easy way is to deal with it at the employer level. Why don't they do that if they actually want to control the problem? This is all about creating a spectacle for a certain voting bloc while they pursue an agenda that is completely contrary to that voting bloc's interests.
Exactly. All right, folks, we're going to head over to Rumble in just a moment. If you're sticking around for the Q&A, the link is here, dudissidents.com/Rumble. Everyone's welcome to watch. Patrons, paid members are welcome to call in. So patreon.com/dudissidents, and you'll get call-in access. You'll see it in the most recent post with the link to call in to the show. All right. Stoop Sign says, I'm not anti-inseminated person Semitic. Thank you. ADM is the abbreviation for the title of Admiral. Admirable Chester, my nuts. Okay, gotcha. Keaton, is that a beer can on the ground by the table in your room? No, that was just looking. No, that's a seltzer can. That's one of these. Got some plain seltzer from the grocery store. That's in a refrigerator. That lasted me this whole time. I got a 12-pack of seltzer partying over here. Damon Wolf, stop showing up to elections. You're just encouraging them. Admirable
That's what
Chester
Carlin
Nuts
said.
says, I care about you guys. Thank you, Admirable
Thank
Chester.
you.
Admiral. Appreciate that very much. Vito says, it's Vito P. Dear Keaton and Russell, we'll always have St. Louis pizza. Cancer sucks. Guys wrong. Thank you. El Casador says, so you gents went for pizza to actually eat pizza like the food. I thought it was code for Pizza Express. Lolita Kane style. Thank you, El Casador. Appreciate that. All right. Stu Stadwells, thanks for the $1.99. Pruitt Eagle Myth is a documentary on St. Louis. All right. Thank you. We'll check that out for some research, maybe. Daria S. says, now Americans get a taste of what it's like to be invaded and destabilized by Americans. That's right. Truth and Reconciliation. Comrade Blackpell says, this is CB reporting live from Guillotine Gulch. The enemies of the people are finally facing justice. Thank you, Comrade. Appreciate that. All right, everybody, that is our show. Appreciate you all very much for being here. This is my last dispatch from St. Louis. Russ will be here for the next couple of weeks. But we want to once again thank the team at Uhuru for showing us an amazing time. It was cut short for reasons that were beyond any of our control. But I shouldn't say it was cut short. It was delayed. It was delayed and modified. So we will make it happen. We will get this stuff done, and we're super excited about the project. So thanks to Uhuru and the people of St. Louis. We actually did talk to the chairman today, which was we had a great conversation with him on the phone. And so we will press on with the project here. So thank you all very much for being here tonight. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Thanks to Jake in the booth. Thanks to the mods for keeping the peace in the chat. Jake is going to now handle our switch over to Rumble. There will be a 5-minute intermission, and afterwards we will continue with the Q&A. So if you're sticking around, we'll see you in 5 minutes. If you're not, we'll see you this Tuesday. Should be regular time, I guess. We will let you know.
Yeah.
Shoot schedule is pretty light for the next few days as the team recovers from their ailments. So we should see you Tuesday afternoon, regular time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Until then, thanks very much for being here with us tonight. Be safe and be well.
Courage!
Please clap.